men's scratch race, the men's Kieran and the women's team pursuit. All of those competitions played out to their conclusion here this evening. And our first event on the track will be the women's team pursuit first round. This competition began yesterday with the qualification phase, and we're now into 4 heats to give us our teams for the medal finals later on today. And the teams will take to the track, 1 in the home straight and 1 in the back straight. First teams to go in the home straight will be the nation of Germany, and their opponents in the back straight will be Poland. 4 riders per team, and a total distance of 20 laps of the track to give us the 4-kilometre distance. Time taken on the 3rd rider across the line. And the riders who will line up for Germany will be Friedrich, Ricarda Baunofind, Lena Charlotte Reisner and Friedrich Stern. We'll tell you about Poland in a moment, but before that we'll just remind you of the finer details of the laws and rules of the team pursuit.
The team pursuit is a team endurance race. It is raced by 4 riders. The qualifying round sees each team ride alone on the track against the clock. The top 8 teams qualify through to round 1, where they will be seeded based on their times. The winners of the last 2 heats in round 1 will ride off in the final for gold and silver. The other 6 teams shall dispute the finals for the small placings on the basis of their times in round 1. 1 team starts on each side of the track, and they race each other and the clock. The winner is determined by either catching the other team or by recording the fastest time.
There you have our quick guide to the team pursuit, and the team in the back straight. We need to introduce them to you. It's the nation of Poland, represented by Marta Jaskulska, Victoria Polak, Victoria Kierat and Olivia Majuska. They are the riders who will take the start for Poland. This is the first round, so in these first 2 heats we're looking for the fastest teams who will be eligible for a place in the bronze medal final, along with the losing teams from the from the 3rd and 4th heats, which will also bring us the teams for the gold and silver medal ride. I'll explain that in more detail as we get to that point in the competition, but the riders in the final few seconds of countdown now. 50 seconds shown on the board when the bike is secured in the starting gate. And the final few bleeps to get the race underway. Germany in the home straight, familiar colours, the white and black with the bands around the sleeves. And their opponents Poland, away in the back straight in the red and white. So if you're curious as to why it is 20 laps of the track here in Aigle in Switzerland, you weren't with us yesterday, just let me explain to you this. Velodrome is actually 200 metres rather than the more common 250-metre distance. Consequently, in order to complete a kilometre, you have to travel around 5 times rather than 4 on a 250-metre track. That gives us a 20-lap final for the 4 kilometres of this team pursuit. So, away from the line clearly for both teams. It's Germany and Poland inseparable at the moment. We'll give you split times as they complete each of the 3 kilometres, and of course at the finish. Time is all important, as we emphasised and as we explained in our video clip a little earlier. So in the first 2 heats of this first round, teams are battling for the fastest to go into the bronze medal finals. The final 2 heats will give us our gold and silver medalists from the winners of those final 2 heats. And the losers from those 2 heats also go into the mix to pick up the 2 fastest teams for the bronze medal final. The riders changing as they come out of the banking either end of the track. Leading rider will swing off, link back onto the rear of the string. Ride on the front provides an aerodynamic advantage for those immediately behind. That's why they ride so closely together, and why they practice these changes hour after hour in the training that leads up to a major championship such as this one. As we saw with the men's competition yesterday, particularly for the teams of Belgium and Great Britain, unfortunately, if you get it wrong in the changes, it can result in disaster. You need to finish 3 riders. Time is taken on the 3rd rider across the line, so the teams will potentially lose 1 of the 4 towards the end of the race. And course, they'll try and line up across the finishing line to make sure there's no discernible difference between the time of the first and the third finisher. So Germany beginning to press home their advantage now. The two changes in the team. They name more riders than are required to ride the final, and can actually swap riders around between the individual phases of the competition. So Germany making a couple of changes to the originally published lineup yesterday for this first round. But it's proving to be more successful than the Polish formula at the moment, because Germany are quickly closing the poles down now. Completion of the second kilometre, advantage Germany, 2:27.38 and 2:23.169 for Poland. So mountains to climb here for the Polish team. They're going to get the better of this one. Remember, you need the fastest time from these heats to stand a chance for placing the bronze medal final. Barring unexpected occurrences, it is looking very much as though Germany will be first to secure their bid for a place in that bronze medal final. In fact, they're not too far away now from the catch. They will, of course, continue through quarter time if they do overhaul Poland. Commissars keeping a very careful eye, and will instruct the Polish team not to change. Our commissar in the home straight holding out the red flag. That means don't change, because the team behind you are about to overtake. And here come Germany. Catch is made. So Germany will get the victory over Poland, but the time, of course, is important for Germany. They've lost their fourth rider during that overtaking manoeuvre. That's Schmeichel, who has been dropped, but the remaining three cleanly past the Poles now. We've still got all four riders going, but German team now one lap to the good ahead of the Poles. And now they'll be concentrating all of their attention on the finish. Just losing a little bit of ground there to the third rider. Let's try and keep that gap as tightly closed as possible. We're back in full formation now with Reisner on the front for Germany. Poles down to 3, but it's just a matter of completing the distance for them. As Germany one lap ahead, and they will get the bell this time. 1 lap to go for Germany. The time is now academic, of course, in terms of the competition here on the track in this heat, but Germany will be looking to post the fastest time they can. And here they come, across the line. Neat finish there from Germany. Almost no difference between the 3 riders as they crossed the line. The third rider was Reisner, and it's on her finishing position the time will be taken. 4:40.484, the time recorded by Germany. And for Poland, 4:49.330. Germany ahead from the start from each of those kilometre checkpoints, and overhauling the Poles with a couple of laps still to go. So as those two teams warm down, Germany will be keeping a very careful eye on the proceedings in the next heats to see if they can get the fastest time out of those teams who do not go into the gold and silver medal finals. So next up we have the Russian Federation team. They will start in the home straight, and their opponents, that will be Canada, who will start in the back straight. So representing Russia will be Aigle Gareva, Daria Malkova, Maria Mlieva and Karine Minassian. And for Canada, Sarah Van Dam, Victoria Slater, Caitlin Roerda and Ainsley Black. Those are the 4 riders for each of the teams. Russia home straight and Canada in the back straight. As soon as the bike of the inside rider is secured in the starting gate, flag held aloft, the 50-second countdown then begins. And they have those 50 seconds to get their final preparations completed. Nervous wiping of the gloves on the shorts there from the riders in the Russian team. Make sure that they get the very best grip they can on the handlebars. The start, of course, all important in the team pursuit. The rider in the gate will lead them away. The leaps will become more insistent in the closing few seconds before they depart from the start line. Time to beat, 4:40.484, posted by Germany in the first heat. And we are now just moments away from heat 2 of the women's team pursuit first round. And as the teams depart from the line, Germany...
Wind it up, girls, wind it up! Come on!
Time for 44.84, the Russian Federation team well underway, so too Canada. They were led away from the line by Sarah Van Dam, rider who rode the opening leg for the team of Russian Federation was Aigle Gariva. She now swings off and drops onto the rear of the string, so too the Canadians. Take a little longer to make their first change. Sarah Van Dam doing a big turn in the opening couple of laps here. Bit of daylight between the third and fourth rider in the Russian team as they completed that change. Not quite as neat as they would have hoped. They still have the upper hand currently.
Right.
A little more ragged in their riding, but the speed is certainly there for the Russian Federation. The teams will ride to a very carefully calculated schedule, indicated to them by the coach at trackside. Fatal mistake usually in this sort of competition is going off like a rocket and running out of energy before the completion of, in this case, the 20 laps that make up the competition. So sometimes the team who start behind will gradually work their way back into contention and overhaul their opponents in the closing stages. Russian Federation fastest in the first kilometre, 1:11.613. Simply faster than Canada, who posted 1:13.419. Still, it's an advantage for Russian Federation. Still both teams, all four riders contributing to the effort. Russian changes a little better now as they have eased themselves into this one. They're looking to try and enhance the lead that they had. Once again though, fourth rider for Russian Federation taking a long time to get back onto the rear of the third rider. Canada still changing more successfully, but the pace just isn't there for the Canadians at the moment as we head towards completion of the second kilometre on the halfway stage in the second heat. And if the Russian Federation continue at this pace, Canada will face the prospects of being caught and passed before this one's over. 2:18.583 for Russian Federation, 2:22.726 now for Canada. And it's looking as though there's going to be no way back here for the Canadians. Actually, a couple of metres away from the catch here. Red flags will be readied very shortly to make sure the Canadians don't change while the Russian Federation team go past. 4:40.484 the target. Canada are within a handful of metres of being caught now by the Russian Federation, who choose that moment to lose their fourth rider. So our work is done. That's fourth rider who's dropped off the string there for Russian Federation is Anastasia Lukashenko. And they are past the team of Canada. So almost a repeat of the opening heat between Germany and Poland in that Russian Federation and a guaranteed victory, but of course the time is all important. Canada now down to 3 as well.
Come on, chase them, come on!
Beginning to lift their pace now, but they have definitely left it too late. 3:25.876 for Russian Federation, 3:34.018. Canada, who are a lap behind.
Come on, girls, come on!
And Russian Federation are will take over the top of the classification in terms of times of the completed teams. Final 400 metres.
Come on, get back on, come on!
With a bell for the Russian Federation team. 200 to go. They are going to take this one out. But, focusing very carefully on the time. And as they come to the line, well, not the fully across the track finish they would have hoped for. Third rider a little behind the leading rider, but they're still almost 4 seconds faster than the Russian Federation, the completion of their ride. So Russian Federation go to the top of the leaderboard, beating Germany by that margin of just over 4 seconds. 4:36.265 the time for Russian Federation, puts them at the top slot currently. The remaining 2 heats, of course, the winners of each of the following 2 heats will go into the gold and silver medal final. And the losing teams in the following 2 heats, they'll go into the mix along with Germany and Russian Federation to secure the 2 top fastest times from those to ride for the bronze medal. So we move on to heat number 3, and this is the first of the heats that will produce a team for our gold and silver medal final. And it is a battle between Australia and New Zealand for this one. The team who will start in the home straight are Australia, represented by Alexandra Martin-Wallace, Alice Culling, Sophie Edwards and Lauren Robards. And their opponents from just across the water in New Zealand, Ali Wollaston, Anna-Marie Lipp, Sammy Donnelly and Mackenzie Milne. Australia versus New Zealand. This for a place in the gold and silver medal final for the winning team. So this competition began yesterday, as we mentioned, with the qualification phase of the competition. New Zealand posting a time of 4:35.823 in that qualification round. And Australia's time for the qualifier was 4:35.456. So slight advantage, but only marginal to Australia on the basis of yesterday's qualification rides. Let's see if that's mirrored in this first round battle for a place in the final. So the clock counts down, and the gun will fire, and away we go. Both teams with good support here in the World Cycling Centre in Aigle in Switzerland. Very vocal support as well for both the Australians and the New Zealanders. First away for New Zealand, Ali Wollaston leading them out of the gate. And for Australia, it's Lauren Robards. Very evenly matched, completion of the opening lap. Slight advantage in favour of the Australians. Just 0.045 of a second. Fourth rider on the line for New Zealand, again leaving a little bit of a bigger gap than the others. They complete their changes to come into their home straight. Interesting to see the opening split for these two. Still very evenly matched. Just a marginal advantage for Australia, 0.2 of a second. New Zealand, the familiar black and white. Australia, similarly the white with the gold and green bands around the centre of the jersey. So at the end of the opening kilometre, this is an indication of just how close it is. 1:11.493 for Australia, 1:11.927 for New Zealand. So Burly, 0.4 of a second separating them at the moment. That is, to some extent, a reflection of the qualification times, which were very closely matched, as I mentioned a few moments ago yesterday. But only one team from these two will find themselves in the gold and silver medal final. Moment, it is a marginal advantage for Australia. 2.73 is the current deficit for the New Zealanders after 1.8 kilometres of racing completed. Very warm once again here in Switzerland today. That heat certainly proving to be quite significant here inside the velodrome. Of course, that's going to enhance the performance in timed events like this. As we come round to the completion of the second kilometre, it's still just 0.6 between Australia and New Zealand. Still the advantage for the team in the home straight. Australia 2:17.271, 2:17.865 for New Zealand now. 1.5 half to go. And now the pendulum beginning to swing a little as New Zealand lose their fourth rider. For the first time, they go ahead. The rider they have dropped from the string for New Zealand is Sammy Donnelly. Still all four for Australia. Which gives them a slight advantage. There's one more rider to share the effort, but having said that, of course, the fourth rider from Australia now swings off the back of the string, so both teams down to 3. And it's now advantage New Zealand, 3:23.735 for New Zealand, 3:24.530 for Australia. So for the first time, New Zealand are ahead at the 3rd kilometres checkpoint. Can they continue to press home that advantage? Little gap here to the 3rd rider for the Australians. That could spell trouble when we come to the final lap. She needs to try and get back on. She can. That rider who is desperately trying to regain that ground is Lauren Robarts. Meanwhile, the 3 riders remaining for New Zealand continue to eat up the ground between themselves and their opponents, Australia. And, we are not far away from the final lap of the bell. And it's New Zealand who will go into that final lap with the advantage. It's all about getting your finish right now. To cross the line with no discernible time difference between the 3 riders. And the time is taken on the 3rd rider across the line. And it's New Zealand who are going to deliver here. The time is 4:31.216, so coincidentally it is the fastest time of the competition so far, but what it means for more important reasons is that New Zealand go into the gold and silver medal final. Time for Australia, that was 4:35.641. So the 2nd fastest time of the competition, so at the moment they are looking good for a potential ride in the bronze medal final. And our attention will turn to the final heat, heat number 4. And it will be the 2 teams here who are contesting the remaining place in the final. Taking the start in the home straight will be the team who hold the world record for this discipline, setting that marker in the World Championships in Montichiari in Italy last year, 4:21.554. It's the team of Italy who will take the start in the home straight, presented by Vittoria Glazzi, Silvia Zanardi, Giorgia Catazzi and Sofia Colinelli. And their opponents in the back straight are the team of Great Britain. And they are represented here today by Ellie Rissell, Pfeiffer Georgie, Eleanor Backstead and Ella Barnwell. So a strong lineup for the team of Great Britain. If they win this one, they will go into the final and meet New Zealand. If Italy win, then they will meet New Zealand in the final. Great Britain will go into the mix for a place at the bronze medal final. So we are seeing the team of Italy lined up there, the team of Great Britain in the back straight. All the riders on board the machines. Just last few moments just to really focus the mind, concentrate on the effort required here, the challenge of overhauling your opponents on the opposite side of the track, knowing in particular that a place in the medal final is at stake here. Great Britain team, their riders who are just fresh out of the British Junior Championships a few short weeks ago. Countdown, we'll get this final heat underway. The prize, a place in the gold and silver medal final versus New Zealand. And we're away. Italy versus Great Britain. And the lineup has been mixed up a little here by both teams following the initial publication of the start list for this first round, which they're at liberty to. Between separate rounds of the competition, they can swap out riders. The British lineup, Ellie Russell, the British individual pursuit and Medalist champion. And actually she took a great 3rd place finish in the British team pursuit competition, the British National Championship, the Senior Championship early on this year in January, National Cycling Centre in Manchester. Of course, she's still a rider at junior level and on the backstep as well. A very strong rider, 5 for Georgie. She's had success on track and road this year. Ella Barnwell, saw in action yesterday, women's scratch race. And opening kilometres, heading towards completion, the first of them. At the moment, the Italians have a very small advantage. In fact, Great Britain have closed them down, so Great Britain back into the lead. 1:11.389 for Great Britain, 1:11.987 for Italy. So Great Britain just easing ahead at that opening kilometre split time. Front powering around for Great Britain is Eleanor Backstead. Famous name, of course, in the world of cycling, daughter of Magnus Backstead, the Paris-Roubaix winner. Eleanor doing a good turn on the front. The Italians, though, are beginning to answer back here. They have taken the lead as we head towards the halfway point. So fortune's changing. Gaps opening a little here between the British riders as we watch them go down the back straight. Smooth progress being made by Italy. That is partially the reason why they have begun to take the lead here ahead of the Great Britain team. And the backside swings to the front, drops into the rear for Great Britain, leading the Italians through the line. That time was Silvia Zanardi. Italy continue to move ahead at the halfway point. 2:16.389 for Italy, 2:17.795 for Great Britain. So over 2.5 seconds the deficit. Great Britain are down to 3. The rider who has been jettisoned by the Great Britain team is Ellie Russell. Italy still with 4. Continuing to close the ground down. Great Britain, Italians, of course, world record holders at this competition from last year. But, found some more very strong junior female pursuit riders here. Good challenge being put up by Great Britain, but not only are they numerically now at a disadvantage, just 3 riders, all 3 of whom, of course, have to finish. So once again, Eleanor Backstead does her turn on the front. The Italians are now in the same straight as the Great Britain team. The completion of the 3rd kilometre was 3:21.674 for Italy versus 3:26.478 for Great Britain. Of course, the time of the losing team here is important for a place in the bronze medal final. So it's looking very much as though Italy will be meeting New Zealand for the gold and silver later this evening. Catch has almost been made. British team being instructed to stay down by Commissaire in the back straight, showing the red flag. Italy, with a couple of laps to spare, are pretty much assured that berth in the gold and silver medal final alongside New Zealand. 1 lap to go for the Italians. They've elected not to pass the Great Britain team here. Of course, the time is irrelevant as far as the Italians are concerned. They are the winners of this heat, and that's all that matters to get you into the gold and silver medal final. Great Britain will be anxious to press home for a good time here, to challenge for minor place. A great finish there for Great Britain. All 3 riders in this line across the track as they went through in a finishing time of 4:35.621. Oh, that's just 200th of a second slower than Australia in the previous heat. The time for Italy, 4:29.312. So it'll be New Zealand versus Italy for the gold and silver medal. Great Britain and Australia for the bronze medal. And that final, those finals, in fact, coming up later on this evening session. And it is confirmed on the screen for you. New Zealand, Italy for the gold and silver, Australia and Great Britain for the bronze. So our competition programme here, day 2 of the UCI 2018 Junior Track Cycling World Championships will continue with quarter-finals of the women's sprint competition that began this morning. And we're going to give you our quick guide to sprinting as the women will be taken to the track in just a few moments' time.
The sprint is a classic short-distance event in which 2 riders cover 3 laps of the track. Qualification consists of flying start 200 metres time trial. The time trial is followed by knockout heats, fastest versus slowest. From the quarter-finals, the riders race best of 3 heats. Sprint racing is all about the tactics. Riders will sometimes come to a standstill in an effort to make their opponent take the lead, which is the least advantageous position before the final sprint to the finish.
So that's what our sprinting is all about, and we are at the quarter-final stage for the women's sprint competition. We began with the qualifiers earlier this morning, from which we have whittled down the riders now to those in the quarter-finals. The 8 riders here will be looking for a place in tomorrow's semi-finals. And for the first time in this women's sprint competition, we're at the best of 3 stage match sprinting. So each heat potentially run off over 3 contests. Unless, of course, you win the first 2, in which case a decider is not necessary. Riders just being brought onto the track here and taking the start in heat number 1, representing Germany. Rider who took a gold medal here yesterday in the team sprint and was actually the bronze medalist in the women's sprint at last year's Junior Championships. And that is Safi Friedrich of Germany. And her opponent, who took the bronze in the team sprint with her teammate yesterday, is Nicola Saramak of Poland. So the Polish rider on the inside of the track with the red and white colours. Germany starting on the outside. The onus is upon the rider who draws the inside position to lead away from the line, unless her opponent elects to go past her, which in this instance Friedrich has not decided to do. The advantage is thought to be with the rider in second spot here, because the leading rider is obliged to keep looking over her shoulder to try and preempt any attacking move from her opponent. The rider in second spot can just track her opponent around and has the element of surprise very much on her side. And for that reason, the riders do sometimes come to a halt. It's called a track stand, as you saw in our explanatory video a few moments ago. Try and force the other rider to come through. But, pace is reasonable here in the opening lap. They are asked to complete the first half lap at walking pace or better before they can consider a standstill. But now we see the acceleration from Friedrich of Germany coming past her opponent and dropping down inside that red sprinter's line. And at the bell, Friedrich begins the acceleration. The gold medalist from the team sprint yesterday versus the bronze medalist, but the Poles coming back here. Saramak left it late, coming off the wheel of Friedrich as they come towards the line, but it's going to be Friedrich of Germany who takes victory in match 1. Well, she took that one on from quite a long way out, had the confidence, she had the speed to overhaul and hold off Saramak, which indeed proved to be the case. 11.608 for the closing 200 metres for Safi Friedrich. Here you see that final run to the line, and I think if the finish line was a little further down the track, that Saramak may just have got back at Friedrich there. So that bodes well for the Polish rider for the second encounter later. She will rethink her tactics. I'm quite sure to allow her German opponent quite such sizable ground ahead. But for now, it is 1 match the good for Safi Friedrich of Germany. It's always good to get that first one in the bag. It puts the pressure on your opponent, because of course Nicola Saramak has to win match 2 to force the decider. A second victory for Friedrich will take us straight through into tomorrow's semi-finals. Quarter-final heat 2. And another rider who tasted success here in yesterday's team sprint for the People's Republic of China is Ji Fanghu, the silver medalist in the team sprint. And her opponent from Australia is Alana Field. So who of China on the inside, Field on the outside. Field launched away and takes up the lead position straight from the gun. So that puts Hu in second place. That red sprinters line I alluded to in the opening heat is very important when the sprint proper begins. Once you are inside that red sprinters line, your opponent has to go around the outside in order to take the lead. They can't come underneath the rider who's in that sprinters line. That's why the battle is played out, the tactical battle, to try and get first dibs on that sprinters lane. And as they come under the scoreboard, Field on the inside, Hu on the outside. Chinese rider allowed Field to take the lead. Now she comes around her opponent. Not clear yet, and Field is fighting back here. The Australian has still got the sprinters line, but who's going to come with a long way around? Hu of China on the outside, Field on the inside. That's going to be close, but China just taking that one. So Jifang Hu of China by about half a bike length or so, I would say, on the line in a closing 200-metre time of 11.942. Secures her place in the first race, and the tick goes in the box as the winner of heat number 1. Number 1, I should say, of heat number 2. So that means that Field will have to try and overhaul her opponent in the second match. Seeing the replay of that final run to the line, Hu overpowering Field, but it was close. Field put up a really good strong challenge in the back straight. It took another kick by Hu to bring her home with that advantage, which, as I mentioned, is relatively slender. You see our head-on shot here. Hu just about half a bike length ahead of Field on the line. So again, even though Field has lost out, she can take some solace from that and rethink her tactics ahead of the second encounter. We move instead now to heat number 3, and the other member of the bronze medal winning Polish team sprint squad from yesterday is also involved in this individual sprint competition. This is Nicola Sibiak of Poland. She has drawn the inside, no, she's drawn the outside position here. And the rider on the inside is her opponent from the Russian Federation, and that's Ksenia Andreeva. Quite a significant gap between them here. As long as they are in the right relative position, in other words, the inside rider on the inside and the outside rider on the outside, the actual positions across that start line are entirely up to the riders. Sometimes they'll try and crowd right to the top of the track, try and get maximum benefit into the first bend. Other times, like this one, the inside rider taking a much lower position than her opponent. It's all part of the tactical battle that goes on here. Both riders just dropping down the track. Rider from the Russian Federation on the inside with a slight advantage. Now the acceleration coming from Sibiak of Poland. You've seen her teammate from the team sprint, Sarah lose out to Friedrich of Germany, the first encounter in Heat 1. So she's trying to turn the tables here for Poland and take victory in first match of Heat 3. She's certainly got the advantage ahead of Andreeva as they come under the scoreboard for the final time. This is a gap. It's going to take some closing for the Russian rider, and holding on well on the line. Just hurling a bike at the line to make sure she has got the win to her credit. Nicola Sibiak, winner of that match, 11.929 for the closing 200 metres. Here's that replay. See the Russian rider making the dive for the inside position. And Sibiak and Poland on the outside, but she had the advantage of greater pace coming into the finishing straight, and also the lower position on the track, both of which brought her the victory, along with that lunge for the line. You see her pushing the arms forward to make sure that her front wheel is as far ahead of her body as it possibly can be, whilst remaining seated on your bicycle. It's all about doing that to make sure you've got the very best advantage at the finish line. So Sibiak of Poland, the winner of the first match of Heat 3. And we have got one more heat to go, and the gold medalist, one half of the gold medal winning team from Germany. Just look back at that photo finish just to see the difference. It's about half a wheel in favour of the rider on the inside from Poland, and pretty much that half wheel advantage all attributable, I would suggest, to the lunge for the line. It's clearly Nicola Sibiak is well practiced at. So the riders for Heat 4, Match 1, starting on the inside, representing Germany. As I mentioned a few moments ago, she was a gold medalist here yesterday in the team sprint. Alessa Propster of Germany, her opponent on the outside in the yellow, green and red, the very colourful jersey of the nation of Lithuania, represented here by Viktoria Sumskaita. 45 nations in total contesting this 2018 Junior Track Cycling World Championships here in Aigle, the second time this venue, the World Cycling Centre in Switzerland, has hosted these championships. First time was way back in 2016. And it's great to be back here 2 years later to bring you the championships again. We hope you're enjoying our coverage via our live stream. Every single day the championships will live with you, bring you all the excitement of the finals. So as the bell rings for 1 lap to go, it is Germany with the advantage, shoulder to shoulder as they came out of corner 2, and Sumskaita of Lithuania trying desperately to get around the outside. She's got a longer way to go, won't quite get there. Propster held on well, but a strong challenge indeed from Viktoria Sumskaita of Lithuania. German spectators here, delight reflected in the waving of the flags, but it wasn't an easy victory for Propster. Make for an intriguing second encounter between these two. Sumskaita having still a bit of ground to close, but you can see how close she was to Propster as they came into the finishing straight. Quite able to get over the top, because of course the German got the slightly shorter way around the track by virtue of the inside position. Sumskaita not quite able to carry the challenge all the way to the finish line. So another German rider takes first blood in the women's sprint quarterfinals. This time Alessa Propster goes 1 ahead of Viktoria Sumskaita. So we're moving now into the men's Kieran competition. And again, we're at the second round stage of this competition. We again have got our quick guide to Kieran racing. There's always a very exciting event, this one. And if you always wondered exactly what happens on the track, well, here is our explanation of everything that's involved in Kieran racing.
The Kieran originated in Japan. It is a race for up to 7 riders. The Derny is a powered bicycle which leads the riders around the track. The Derny pulls off the track to let the riders sprint for the last 600 metres. The Kieran is a no-holds-barred event, sure to see some fast-paced and frantic action.
There we go, it's the one with the little motorbike, or in this case, the little electric bike, that will guide the riders round for the opening laps. And again, the distance of this track comes into play in terms of how many laps the Kieran is contested over. It will be 7 laps for the Kieran, and the pacer will leave the track with 3.5 laps to go in the back straight. So you can see the riders going through the draw process here. Modern technology, no playing cards balanced on a clipboard. It's all done by iPad or similar tablet these days. But the end result is the same. The riders draw for position, and that is critical in the latest incarnation of rules for the Kieran. Riders line up in those drawn positions across the width of the track, and they must take up position behind the Derny bike, the electric bike that paces them around the track in that drawn order. So the rider who draws position 1 will be first behind the Derny, the rider who draws 2 second, and so on down the line. If they get that order incorrect, then the heat will be stopped and be brought back to the finish line to resume. And they also have to take up the wheel of the Derny within the first half lap as well. Otherwise, if they sit back and leave a big gap to the pacing motorcycle, again, the heat will be brought to a premature conclusion and reset. So that's, you saw those complications explained in our video. And the riders who are going to tackle this first of 3 heats of the men's Kieran second round, from which the first 2 riders in each heat will qualify through to the final. And the 3rd and 4th place will go into the minor final later on today. So representing the Russian Federation, the rider who is on the inside here is Danila Burkolov, 3rd in the men's team sprint yesterday. Rider from Poland alongside him is Cezary Laskowski, who was bronze medalist in the team sprint at last year's World Championships, also bronze medalist in the European Championship Kierin last year as well. Representing Kazakhstan is Andrei Chugay, for Italy Matteo Pongilupi, and for France gold medalist from yesterday's team sprint Florian Grembo. So that's the lineup for Heat 1 of the men's Kierin, as the riders pick up the wheel of the Derny. They will be travelling at 30 kilometres per hour. The pace will gradually increase lap by lap until the point at which the Derny leaves the track in the backstroke with 3.5 laps to go, at which point it will be travelling at 50 kilometres per hour. As soon as the Derny has left the track, it is pretty much the rules of sprinting. The red line we mentioned during the women's sprint a little while ago is also of key importance in the Kieran as well. Just the first two from this one will make it into the finals, second two into the minor finals, so one rider will lose out, make no further progress in the competition. The 5 who took the start here. Still the Italian Matteo Pongilupi, who is on the wheel of the Derny at the moment as it departs from the track. Now the move coming from further down the line is the Polish rider who is going to take lead position here, Cezary Laskowski. Laskowski gets ahead of Pongilupi. There's Russian Federation in third spot, then France and Kazakhstan bringing up the rear. As they come round 2 laps to go, Poland taking this one from the front. Now the challenge coming from the rider from France. This is Florian Grembo, already tasted medal success yesterday. We took the gold in the team sprint. Grembo comes to the front for France. They come into the bell lap, 1 to go. France ahead of Kazakhstan, who've left it late, but now they move to the second place. Kazakhstan just behind the rider from France. Poland in third place. The first 2 looking for a place in the final. France and Florian Grembo looks as though he's going to bring this one home, but second will go to the rider from Kazakhstan, Andrei Chugay, as he crossed the line behind Grembo. Third for Laskowski of Poland, and fourth for Pongilupi of Italy. Those two making the running going into that lap before the Frenchman came from the back of the string and took that lead position and dominated right through to the conclusion of that heat. 10.674 for the closing 200 metres. Here you go. Look at the Frenchman coming from 4th man back here. And coming right round the outside, the Kazakhstan rider knew that was the wheel to follow. As Grembo comes around the outside, Chugay is right there. The challenge of the Polish rider there beginning to fade as they come through. And it was at the final crossing of the finish line, the advantage for France and Florian Grembo, with a good second place for Andrei Chugay of Kazakhstan. Laskowski of Poland, third, just ahead of Pongilupi of Italy. So Grembo and Chugay, our first 2 through to the medal final later. Of course, Florian Grembo already been on the top step of the podium yesterday in the team sprint. First medal of these championships for France. Is already on the track for heat number 2. Again, 5 to take the start, of which the first 2 across the line at the end of the competition will go into that gold and silver medal final. All places 1 through to 6. So the lineup here, rider on the inside for the Czech Republic. 2 riders from the Czech Republic, in fact, in this competition. And we will decide a suitable identification for you when they come into our view. Actually, our position is beyond where the riders are lined up at the moment, so the numbers also not currently visible to us, but the riders we have, both representing the Republic, are Jiří Luksik and Jakub Stachny. And it is Stachny who will take up the position behind the Derny. Now, Stachny is carrying a warning from one of the earlier rounds of this competition. He was the bronze medalist in the European Championship for the time trial discipline last year, and his teammate Jiří Luksik is second from the back here. Man in second position for Australia, Thomas Cornish, and the other Australian involved here, Lee Hoffman. So now they begin to juggle for position with 5 to go. It's still Stashny of the Czech Republic. 2 Australians immediately behind. And then just behind that is Ivan Glazhev of the Russian Federation, bronze medalist in the team sprint yesterday. And Yuri Luksik playing off the back. Now he starts to move forward as the Derny leaves the track. It's Luksik of the Czech Republic moving alongside his teammate, but on the front it is Hoffman of Australia. So Hoffman with the advantage going down the backstraight. As the other Australia moves up into second spot as well. Challenger coming around the outside from the Czech Republic. It is still Hoffman, but the rider from the Czech Republic is right on his shoulder is Stashny. Stashny in second place. Hoffman in the lead with Cornish trapped underneath. Can he get ahead of Stashny at the line? Looks like it's going to be victory for Hoffman of Australia when they come around. He's hanging out the lead position. This is going to be the Bell lap that time. So we're coming to the line for the finish this time, and it is still. Oh, well, did his teammate just get him on the line? We will confirm that for you. I think Hoffman hung on. He's celebrating in the suggestion that he did, but Thomas Cornish managed to extract himself from that battle he was having with Jakub Stashny of the Czech Republic to deliver second place and a place for him in the gold and silver medal battles later. So confirmed result for you. Lee Hoffman of Australia ahead of Thomas Cornish of Australia. Jakub Stashny of Czech Republic third. Ivan Glazhev of Russia fourth, and Yuri Luksik of Czech Republic was the rider in fifth place. There you see the final runs to the line. And just, it was very close, but on the inside, Lee Hoffman just had it. Again, had the finish line been just a few millimetres further down the track, it may well have been his countryman Thomas Cornish who took that one, but that is the confirmed result. The 2 green cues on your screen indicate those are the 2 who have qualified for the final for first through to 6th place, which of course encompasses the gold, silver, bronze medals as well. The next 2, Stashny and Glazhev, will contest the minor final for places 7 through to 12 later on this afternoon. One more heat to go, and it is heat number 3. Again, French interest in this one, as there was in the opening heat. This time it is Tichouan Renvoise, another member of that gold medal winning French team sprint squad from yesterday, who will take the start. He's already seen his teammate Florian Grembo secure his place in the final later, winner of heat number 1. So the little Derny pacing electric motorbike waits in the back straight until the riders are lined up on the start line. An indication from the starter when all the riders are assembled in the correct order and an indicator they're ready to go. We'll bring the Derny around the track. The gun will fire just as it reaches the riders. And as we've explained already, the order in which they take a position behind the Derny pacer. So the riders involved in this third and final heat. We mentioned already Tichouan Renvoise, who was notably extremely pleased with the gold medal victory, as well he might have been. It's certainly a very effusive celebration from Tichouan yesterday. And the French took away that medal, and he's looking to give himself an opportunity perhaps for another medal today. Also joining him in this third heat, representing Belgium, will be Thibaut Destabada, from Germany, Anton Hohner, from Greece, Konstantinos Livanos, from India, Esau, and from New Zealand, Thomas Garbett. It's good to see India securing a place in the second round of the Keyring competition. One of the upcoming track nations of the world. A few velodromes being constructed in the Indian continent in recent years. It's beginning to show success here at world level. It looks to me as though the rider who's drawn the inside spot here is Tichouan Renvoise of France. Alongside him from Belgium is Destabada. Greek next in line, Livanos. And we have New Zealand represented by Garbett and Esau of India, and Hohner of Germany on the the outside. So that's the lineup for the 6th heat. Sorry, I should say the 3rd heat for those to get into the 1st to 6th place finals. Our spectators are getting a good view here of the riders. Let's pick their favourites as they roll away from the line. Renvoise obliged to adopt position 1 behind the Denny. First circumnavigation of the 7 that make up this Kieran round 2 heat is completed. 2nd place for Decisive of Belgium. Number 1, 2, 3. Ivanos of Greece behind him. That's Garbett of New Zealand, Essau of India, and Hona of Germany, the back marker. Back straight they go. There'll be 4 laps remaining when they come to the home straight this time. Remember, because of the foreshortened length of this track here in Aigle, it is 7 laps on the track for the Kieran. The pacer leaving the track, the back straight with 3.5 laps to go. It is now Blackboard a little slow to change here. Now 3 to go as they come to the finishing straight, and it's Hona of Germany who's taken the lead here. Looks behind and almost in disbelief that he's got such a big advantage as they came through the 3 lap to go marker. Hona of Germany with a challenge now coming from further down the line and coming around the outside as Hona's still in the lead, but the rider who's taken on the challenge here is Essau of India. Essau in 2nd place. Oh, and a big crash that has broken down both the French and the Belgian. Remaining 4 riders who are still upright is Hona of Germany coming to the finishing straight with 1 lap to go. Hona versus Essau of India and Garbett of New Zealand with the Greek in a distant 4th place. The leading 3 here coming towards the line, and Hona of Germany looks as though he may just hold along for that one, ahead of Essau of India 2nd and Garbett of New Zealand in 3rd place. But 2 of the riders who we expected to make a good challenge there, in particular the gold medalist from yesterday's team sprint, Tishuan Renvoise, involved in that tumble. 1 lap and a half to go. Tell you that Decisive of Belgium is back on his feet. Let's take another look at that one. Towards the back, and French rider trying to move up here. Just looks makes contact with the back wheel of the New Zealander, and in the process brings down the Belgian. Another look at that from a slightly different perspective. And as we see our 3 leading riders come into the finishing straight, Hona of Germany holds off Essau of India for 2nd, and Garbett of New Zealand for 3rd. Livanos of Greece was 4th, with both Decisive and Renvoise unable to complete the distance. I have to tell you, unfortunately, that Tishuan Renvoise is still on the ground in the back straight. Let's hope he is okay. Being attended to very swiftly, of course, by the medical team here at the World Cycling Centre. It's never good when riders don't get up pretty quickly from a crash like that one. It's a very rapid pace that they were travelling at when they did come to grief in corner 2 there, and that's necessitated some track repairs. If you're with us yesterday, you'll know that we spent quite some time explaining the fine art of track repairing for you during what seemed like about a 20-minute track repair sequence following a tumble during the racing yesterday, but our track repairers have been kept well occupied with the rolls of sticky tape. Earlier today in the qualification heats, both qualification heats of the men's scratch race, saw riders take a tumble, and so too some more crashing in the Kieran. So it's millimetre precision in racing on this track, and when you get it wrong, contact with the ground is never good. And we are hoping that Tishuan Renvoise will be okay. We're still being attended to in the back straight, so whilst we complete the repairs to the track as well, let me just confirm the result of that one. It was Hona and Essau who were the riders who took 1st and 2nd place in that one, and will secure their positions in the 1st through to 6th place final. Also through to that, Florian Rambo and André Chouguet from heat number 1. Heat number 2, well, that saw Lee Hoffman and Thomas Cornish of Australia secure their berth in that final. And of course, Heat 3, Anton Huna and Esau, the two riders through into that final, which will take place later during the course of this evening's competition programme. Day 2 of the 2018 Junior Track Cycling World Championships here in Aigle in Switzerland at the World Cycling Centre. And 45 nations lining up for these 5 days of competition. And interestingly, the European Championships will take place right here at the World Cycling Centre in just a couple of days' time. In fact, when we finish racing here on Sunday in the World Championships, the European Championships will start here on Tuesday. So I'm sure quite a few of these riders here will be looking for that one. But now, once again, we'll remind you about the fine art of the team pursuit, which will be our next event on the track.
The team pursuit is a team endurance race. It is raced by 4 riders. The qualifying round sees each team ride alone on the track against the clock. The top 8 teams qualify through to round 1, where they will be seeded based on their times. The winners of the last 2 heats in round 1 will ride off in the final for gold and silver. The other 6 teams shall dispute the finals for the small placings on the basis of their times in round 1. 1 team starts on each side of the track and they race each other and the clock. The winner is determined by either catching the other team or by recording the fastest time.
So, as we remind you of the rules of the team pursuit, let me just tell you that the rider who came to grief in that final heat of the Kieran has just been stretched away from the back straight, so we wish him all the very best for a speedy recovery. We hope he'll be able to continue in these championships. So we turn our attention, as previously advertised, to the men's team pursuit. We are at the finals stages in this one now. The first final will be the one for the bronze medal. And again, a competition which began here at the World Cycling Centre yesterday. Riders completing as far as the first round last evening. And today, of course, it is the finals to be contested. The bronze medal ride will be between Australia, who will start in the home straight. You see the Australian riders there, just getting themselves into the zone. Just moments before you go onto the track, always tense moments for the riders. You know what lies ahead. You know there's a prospect of a medal at the end of this ride. You know that you're one of a team of 4 who are responsible for delivering that for your nation. The Australians: Blake Quick, Lucas Platt, Matthew Rice and Luke White. And for Australia, as they ascend the steps to bring them onto trackside. And their opponents are Italy. And Italy will start in the back straight, represented by Tommaso Nincini, Alessio Bonelli, David Boscaro and Samuel Manfredi. Italians secured their place in this bronze medal final due to the misfortune of the Belgians, who crashed during the first round match yesterday, which they lined up against Italy. Italy qualified at the time of 4:08.952 at the beginning of this competition. Australia, their qualification time was 4:07.541. They lost out to New Zealand, who of course will be riding in the gold medal final immediately following this one. So the team coach for Italy just shaking each of his riders by the hand. Oh, and then falling over the trackside pad in the process. Fortuitously, he's still upright, and the all-important tablet in hand, which will be indicating the schedule to the riders, is also still in his grasp. Just a look down at the handlebars of the pursuit bike there. Let's allow the riders to adopt that aerodynamic stretched out position. All measured, of course, by our race officials before the riders come to the line. So Australia versus Italy for the bronze medal in the men's team pursuit. Australia away from the line in the home straight. Italy likewise. And the first half lap or so is getting the gear turning, then the riders will settle down. First they'll take the seat on the saddle, and then they'll stretch out to adopt that aerodynamic tuck position. And then it is all about speed and aerodynamics and expert positioning of your machine as close as you dare ride to the wheel of your teammate ahead. The advantage gained by the leading rider taking that position for the riders behind. 33% of your effort saved in the slipstream of another rider. That's why they make these changes. So the rider on the front who's done his turn swings up, drops to the back of the line, gets a little bit of respite, and the next rider in line begins to wind up the pace. Lucas Platt on the front now for Australia, and the rider who is in the leading position for the Italian team as they go down the back straight. We're looking, of course, for the opening time split, which shows Australia have gone ahead by a small advantage. 1:04.523 for Australia, 1:05.132 for Italy. Again, of course, time is taken on the third rider across the line. On the front now for Italy is Alessio Bonelli. Australians are currently headed by Matthew Rice. So both teams, all four riders contributing to the effort. Neatly executed change by the Italians as they went into the back straight. Underneath the scoreboard come the Australians. Their coach walking the line here in the home straight, so rather than pointing a tablet device in the direction of the riders, his relative position to the start line is their indication where they are in relation to the schedule. The old faithful stopwatch in hand as well. As we come towards completion of the second kilometre, it is advantage for Australia, 2:03.748 versus Italy's 2:05.027. So the Italians will have to begin to build the pace in the closing laps, the final kilometre. Still advantage Australia. The Italians close the gap. It's 1.33 seconds at the moment in favour of Australia. The Italians hit back a little, 1.2 now the gap. Still both teams at full strength. Swinging off the front for Australia is Blake Quick. Proving true to his name at the moment as the Australians are still in the lead by 1.274 of a second. Italian team looking to try and turn the tables in the closing kilometre. 1.135 the gap, 3:04.173 for the closing for the third kilometre for Australia, 3:05.370 for Italy. So it is still more than a second that separates them, 1.187 in fact. Australia lose their fourth man, that is Luke White. His work is done. Still now, in fact, the Italians also down to 3. So number 208 is dropped by the Italians, that's Samuel Manfredi. But trouble for man 3 here for Australia. He has left a considerable gap to the other two. And the Italians are hitting back here. Remember, the time is taken on the third rider across the line. Australia's first man is first to the line, but the other two are some considerable distance behind. Much neater formation here for Italy. Australia have steadied the ship, though, as they come towards the finish line. It's going to be close, but it is going to be Australia for the bronze medal in 4:05.731. And the Italians really came back strongly in that closing kilometre, 4:05.997. And the Australians almost threw that one away when they found themselves in disarray with a lap to go. But they pulled themselves back into that required formation and just landed the bronze medal in 4:05.731. You see the Italians, the third rider, also with a little bit of work to do to close the gap down, and that is the split screen showing you the gap across the track. Victory for Australia, but just by 0.5 of a second. So the Australian flag conveniently has been found and handed to the rider there who is parading around the track. That's Lucas Platt. So Australia take the bronze. Confirmation of those times for you on the screen. And, more Australian flags being proffered to the riders here as they complete their warm-down laps. We'll be seeing them, of course, on the victory podium a little bit later when they'll collect those bronze medals. But we're now going to turn our attention to the battle for the gold and silver. That'll be fought out between New Zealand and France. New Zealand team coming onto the track. Names there confirmed for you of the New Zealand squad. Corbin Strong, George Jackson, Finn Fisher-Black, and Bailey O'Donnell is the lineup for New Zealand. And in the back straight, their opponents are France. And they are represented on this occasion by Donovan Grandin, Nicolas Hamon, Florian Pardon, and Kevin Vauquelin. So France 4:05.599 in qualification, and New Zealand 4:04.321. And New Zealand overcoming Australia in the first round to secure this place in the gold medal final. And France getting there. They rode against Great Britain in the first round, but unfortunately the Great Britain team crashed in the closing stages of that one, giving victory to France. So New Zealand home straight, France in the back straight. This is the gold and silver medal final in the men's team pursuit. So the gate will release the inside rider, and away we go for 20 laps of the track. 4 kilometres. It's always important, of course, to get a good start. I think both teams ticked that box. Tall rider on the front of the line for the New Zealand team, so he's a good man to have on the front to gain that aerodynamic advantage. That was George Jackson who did that big turn there for New Zealand. Now drops onto the rear of the string, and the French team come around into the home straight. Going on the front for France is Donovan Grandin. Once again, both teams receiving the necessary information from their coaches at trackside. I'm sure they apply the calculated schedule that they've spent many months in training, no doubt, to ensure they can deliver here at these World Championships. Both teams with a strong performance, both in the qualifiers and the first round. Of course, France did benefit somewhat from the misfortune that struck the Great Britain team, who crashed in that first round competition against France yesterday. As we complete the opening kilometre, it is advantage for France, 1:03.969, for against New Zealand's 1:04.096. Into kilometre 2, still very perceptible difference, just 0.057 of a second. A smaller gap now, so this is a very evenly matched battle at the moment. Both nations with still all 4 riders, as you would hope at this stage of the ride. It looks like New Zealand will be first to lose their 4th man. Looks like George Jackson has been dropped out by New Zealand. Still all 4 going for France. It is indeed Jackson of New Zealand who has done his work. French still with 4, New Zealand with 3, and the situation at the halfway point is New Zealand have the lead in 2:02.023, ahead of France by 2:02.191, so just 0.26 of a second between them still. This is going to go right down to the wire now. France are down to 3 as well. Still, the difference is barely perceptible. The rider who was dropped off the line for France was Donovan Grandin. So that leaves Hamon, Pardon and Vauquelin for France. Strong, Fisher, Black and O'Donnell for New Zealand. tracks for the first time. The gap approaching half a second in favour of New Zealand. This is going to come right down to the final laps and who have the better finish of the two. Get your riders one line across the track on the final passage of the line. The time is taken in the third man. It's still agonisingly close, but advantage for New Zealand, 1.149. And the third rider for France is now in trouble. That is Florian Pardon. He's lost the wheel of the other two. The New Zealanders still the trio all closely together. But ground to make up here for Pardon to continue to bring the challenge for France. 2.599 is now the gap, so New Zealand look as though they are lining up here for the gold medal. To the delight of the New Zealand contingent here in the World Cycling Centre. Here they come across the line to take victory. Gold for New Zealand in 4:01.685. And silver for France in 4:05.058. Well, France started the first of the two, but New Zealand pressed them very hard. There was virtually no difference at all throughout the race until we got to the completion of the third kilometre. Then the New Zealanders began to press home their advantage. French also struggled as Florian Pardon lost the wheel of the other two, but already by that time the New Zealanders had a sufficient lead to be confident of victory. And there you can see the celebrations of the New Zealand team, who are the new junior world champions of the men's team pursuit. The New Zealanders having a good day here. More medal hopes, of course, in the competition, but there is confirmation of that result. 4:01.685 finishing time for New Zealand to deliver them that medal. France with the silver, and Australia taking the bronze medal. So it's time to return to the women's sprint as we watch the New Zealanders continue to celebrate. Speculation rife here in the World Cycling Centre. We may see the haka being performed later if New Zealand take that when they take that gold medal on the podium. Certainly been a very noisy velodrome today. Lots of horns being blown in support of riders. It is a great atmosphere. Well, just to take you back to the men's Kieran for a moment, just hearing potentially of a relegation in the second heat, that men's Kieran, affecting Thomas Cornish of Australia. So we'll find out more about that when we return to the men's Kieran competition later on this evening. So our focus now is on match number 2 of the women's sprint. Best of 3, of course, at the quarter-final stage. 4 heats to be contested. Heat number 1 will be Safi Friedrich of Germany, winner of match 1 against Nicola Saramak of Poland. It was pretty close on the finish line, so Saramak will be hoping she can outpace her German opponent to force a decider. Start in the opposite order to last time, so the rider who drew the inside position for match 1 will start on the outside for match 2. If it goes to a third and decisive encounter, they'll draw for position once again. You see the riders strapping themselves into the machines. They do have clips on those pedals, but in order to make sure the feet remain firmly anchored to them, so reinforced by the modern day equivalent of the toe strap, which is made from Velcro. So it's Germany on the inside this time, Safi Friedrich, gold medalist yesterday in the women's team sprint, bronze medalist at last year's World Championships in the sprint, and silver medalist at last year's Europeans, also in the sprint discipline. And she's got one match the good. Nicola Cermak rolls away. Friedrich obliged to take the lead, Cermak allowing her to do so. So the opening lap, tactical battle here. Friedrich occupying the lower position on the track, just casting an eye rearward to see what Cermak may possibly be considering doing. Now Friedrich just raising herself out of the saddle, just injecting a little bit more pace. Cermak now takes closer order as they go down the back straight. With the bell when they come to the home straight this time, Friedrich leading into the bell lap. Cermak, though, has the benefit of coming off the wheel of her opponents, but she's got the longer way to go around. Friedrich leading into the back straight. Has Cermak got an answer to the pace of the German team sprint gold medalist? Coming underneath the scoreboard is still Friedrich of Germany, and she will take the second match as well. And she will progress into the semi-finals with 2 straight victories. Safi Friedrich of Germany overcomes Nicola Cermak of Poland. Well, Friedrich took that one on right from the front. Cermak never had the lead. She tried to use the slipstream of Friedrich to come around her, but her German opponent had the greater pace and held off the challenge very successfully. So we will see Safi Friedrich in the semi-finals. This competition for the women's sprint being run over 2 days, so we'll progress into the semi-finals tomorrow. That's the final stage of the competition for today, the quarter-finals. Heat number 2 will be next to come to the track. The 2 riders involved just going out onto track side. Number 137 there in the red colours of the People's Republic of China is Zhifanghu, winner of the first match. And you can see a very detailed view there of the strapping of the pedals, and those are genuine toe straps. None of Velcro nonsense here, that's the real thing. Track purists around the world will be nodding in approval. And her opponent from the nation of Australia is Alana Field. Field will start on the inside this time. We're in competition number 120. Who of China was the winner of match number 1. Little nod of the head to indicate that she is ready to go. So too from Field of Australia. Our starter will blow the whistle to get them underway. And keep a very careful eye on them. They need to complete the first half lap at walking pace or brisker. No challenge on that one at the moment. They've departed from the line quite speedily, with Field of Australia in the lead, Who of China just following behind, adopting a slightly higher position on the track. So will Field try and encourage Hugh to come through. Saw Friedrich win the previous battle on the track right from the get-go. She was at the front. Hugh, though, takes closer order, draws level to Field as they go down the back straight. The Chinese rider just slightly ahead. Field with a shorter route to the finish line. 1 lap to go at the bell this time. And Who of China kicks again. Field still mounting a good challenge though here, Field on the inside. So Who's got to go around the outside of that sprinter's line. She is underneath the scoreboard and is ahead of Field of Australia. It's a small margin, but it's a margin enough for Zhifanghu of China to take 2 straight victories and secure her place in tomorrow's semi-finals. Again, another strong challenge from Alana Field of Australia. She put up in the first match, but once again outpaced by her opponent from China. She will, I'm sure, take away some good thoughts from that. And, a little honing of the technique may well see her succeed in future competition. But for now, it is Hugh of China who goes into the semi-finals to join Sophie Friedrich from Germany. There's a replay of that final run to the line. See Field on the inside, but Hugh just the greater closing velocity. She has to make sure she stays outside that sprinter's line. That's the red line you can see, occupied by Field, so Hugh has to go around the outside. Result confirmed. 2 straight rides for Zhifang Hu of China into the women's sprint semi-finals. Heat number 3 next up, and the other member of last night's bronze medal-winning Polish team sprint squad will be involved in this one. This is Nicola Sibiak. She was a winner of match 1 against Kasnia Andreeva of the Russian Federation. Andreeva there, just cinching up the toe straps. So we've seen some great sprinting all day long here from the women's sprint competition. So we have seen the riders who came out best from the first round. Now here in these quarter-finals. First stage of the competition that is down to match sprinting, so too of course tomorrow's semi-finals and finals, also best of 3. But the lineup here, both riders occupying a high position on the track, but the rider with the more inside position of the two is Sibiak of Poland and Andreeva of Russia on the outside, giving her opponent the stare there. It's such are the type of visors attached to helmets these days, which obviously allow the riders to see out, but got a reflective surface on the outside. So trying to stare at your opponent is quite difficult because you can't see the eyes anymore. But they still go through the motions. It's all about a tactical battle here in the sprint. And of course, junior riders learn as they go. Techniques required to outwit your opponent. It's not just about speed, it's about position and picking the moment to attack. And I can tell you that Andreeva of Russia has picked her moment to attack here. She has outpaced Sibiak here with a lap to go, but the pole isn't out of this one yet. She's coming off the wheel of her Russian opponents. They come into the back straight this time. It is Sibiak of Poland. She's still got work to do. Andreeva of Russia Federation is into the finishing straight and will hang on to that position. So she's squared that one. Makes that 1 match all. That will go to the decider. Ksenia Andreeva of the Russian Federation takes victory in match 2 ahead of Nicola Sibiak. So that was a good ride there from Andreeva. She was under pressure, of course, having lost the first one. View there of our judge arbiter, Phil Pollard from Great Britain. He's the man charged with making all the decisions from up there on corner 1 that affect riders. You see a representation being made by the Australian coach there. I imagine that applies to the men's Kieran. We did hear about that decision that had been made affecting one of the riders, Thomas Cornish of the Australian team. More of that will be returned to the men's Kieran a little bit later. Meanwhile, though, we're into the 3rd heat of the women's sprint quarter-finals. Just waiting for the riders to come up onto trackside. Delay here. They do join us. Heat 4 is Alessa Katrina Probster of Germany in the white, black shorts and the red and yellow bands around the sleeves. And her opponent from Lithuania is Victoria Sumskaita, green and yellow of Lithuania. It was Probster, gold medalist here yesterday in the team sprint, who was the winner of match 1. Sumskaita was outpaced by Probster, but not by very much at the completion of the first match. Riders being summoned to the start line. Our starter. This time it will be Sumskaita of Lithuania who will take up the inside position. Alessa Probster of Germany, just adjusting the zip on her skin suit to make sure it's given the full aerodynamic benefit. As they roll away from the line, and she takes up the lead position. Or does she? Well, it looks like some Skyter wants to hang on to that, so they have a little battle as they come out of corner 2. This states Alessa Probster getting out of the saddle again to make sure she can take the lead, which she now does. But some Skyter is right on the wheel. 1 lap to go this time round. Pressure, of course, on some Skyter to square this one. Probster the inside line. So some Skyter required to take the longer route to the finish line. It is still advantage Germany for Probster as they come into the finishing straight. I think some Skyter may have left this one too late. Yes, she has. It is Alessa Probster of Germany in 2 straight rides who will progress into tomorrow's semi-finals. So that just leaves 1 decider to be contested. That's race in Heat 3 between Sibiak and Andriva will go to the decider. Here's the challenge from some Skyter against Probster, but the German not only had the advantage of the inside line, but also the greater closing velocity as well. Some Skyter tried really hard to get across, but Probster with the final lunge for the line as well, just to make doubly sure, is the rider who takes victory. Her second victory in that quarter-final for the women's sprint, and secures her place in the draw for tomorrow's semi-final. So we will return to that 1 remaining battle in the Heat 3 for the women's sprint a little later. Our caption showing the riders already qualified for those semis. There's Safi Friedrich of Germany, Xifeng Hu of China, and Alessa Probster of Germany. Well, we change disciplines now, and we're going to go to the men's scratch race final. And to give you a clearer view of what happens in the scratch race, here is our explanatory video.
The scratch race is a classic first across the line mass start race. Endurance riders often surge in an attempt to unsettle all the sprinters in the field. In turn, the sprinters will try to shelter with the pack for most of the race, conserving their energy until the final laps. The starter will indicate the leading rider by pointing as they pass on the home straight.
So that's what the scratch race is all about. We saw a very hotly contested women's scratch race here on the first day of the championships yesterday. And I'm sure, having watched the qualification rides earlier today, which we didn't televise for you, but they were part of this morning's racing programme here at the World Cycling Centre. I can tell you it was full-on action in both of them, right from the gun. And in fact, in both qualification heats, that gave us 10 riders from each to make up this 20-man final. And we saw 5 riders gain a lap during the course of the race to seal the victory. And a furious pace in both of them. The average speed for the first qualifier was 52.74 kilometres per hour. The second qualifier, Burly, slower in 50.198. Of course, the riders who came out on top from those two are now here lining up for this men's scratch race final. 50 laps of the track is the distance of the race, which on this 200-metre track is 10 kilometres. So representing South Africa, Ricardo Broxham from Greece, Pangiotis Karatavis from Austria, Lukas Weiberger, Great Britain, represented by Charlie Calvert, Kazakhstan by Ramis Dimukhtayov, Uzbekistan have Alexei Fomovsky, for Argentina Joel Vargas, for Colombia Nicolas Gomez, for Germany Max German, for Poland Filip Popopskin. Those are the riders who will start on the fence, and on the inside of the track, the other half of the lineup for New Zealand is Kian Watts, for Korea Yu Young Park, for the Czech Republic Peter Kellerman, For Mexico, Gabriel Estrada. For France, Samuel Thibault. For Belgium, Turdens. For Canada, Riley Pickrell. For Italy, Matteo Pongialupi. For the Ukraine, Vladislav Denchenko. And for Switzerland, Dominic Billier. Those are the riders, the 20 riders who will be contesting the medals in the men's scratch race final. So just taking a last little gulp of water, one or two riders, or an energy drink, just to remind you again how warm it is here inside the World Cycling Centre in Aigle. The weather outside is absolutely glorious over the last couple of days. A bit of rain when we arrived here for the championships on Tuesday, but yesterday and today it has been wall-to-wall sunshine here in this beautiful part of Switzerland. We've not visited the region, the World Cycling Centre. Aigle, located amongst the towering alpine peaks of the Canton de Vaud Valais region. Lake Le Mans as well, not too far away. And the cities of Montreux and Vevey and Lausanne, which border the lake. It's an idyllic location, and of course a great place for these World Championships. The second time we've hosted them here at the World Cycling Centre, the first back in 2016. So away we go, the first rolling lap. Riders, assuming they're all still together, will get the gun this time. The race will be underway. No points or anything involved in the scratch race, as you saw from our explanatory video. It is the first 3 riders across the line at the finish who will be the medal winners, unless, of course, there are lots of riders involved. As I mentioned, in both qualifiers, we saw 5 riders gaining a lap in both the qualification heats. Roxham of South Africa, Karatovis of Greece, Weiberger of Austria, Calvert of Great Britain, and Dim Mikhailov of Kazakhstan were the riders who had the lap gain in the first qualifier. And in the second qualifier, it was Kieran Watts of New Zealand, Ark of Korea, Kellerman of the Czech Republic, Estrada of Mexico, and Thibault of France, who gained the lap advantage. So will we see lap gains here? That happens, of course, when an attacking group of riders go off the front of the race and join up to the rear of the main field. Our starter at trackside is charged with the responsibility of pointing at who are the riders who are at the head of the race at the moment, as those riders on the front of the bunch. Number 105 is the rider in the lead position currently. The rider from Poland, front of the main field, Filip Prokopski of Poland. The early laps here. Riders looking at each other. Not quite the frenetic start we saw in the qualification heats. We'll show a run over a much shorter distance, 38 laps on the track. So it's very important to try and get the advantage early, particularly with those lap gains. That pretty much guaranteed you a qualification place. Charlie Calvert there of Great Britain towards the middle of the pack. Recent silver medalist at the British National Junior Track Championships. I think the first attacking move here at the front of the race. 3 riders beginning to open the advantage here. 44 laps to go. Main field responding and closing the gap. We're very much aware of the danger represented by that group. Oh, and a sizable crash, and that's followed by Charlie Calvert of Great Britain as well. And the Mexican rider also down here. The track is clear, I think, so the race will continue. Charlie Calvert limping, getting back on his bike. They've got 5 laps to get back into the action. So I think Charlie will just have a steadying hand here from Ernie Figure, the British mechanic, just to make sure the bike is okay. Commissar, who is located where the crash took place, indicating how many laps have passed since the riders came up to brief. They've got 5 laps, close to 1.3 kilometres to get back onto the action. Meanwhile, the race continues, and we have a rider who is clear at the head of the race, going under the scoreboard. With 40 laps to go, 39 on the line this time. And the advantage has been taken here by Ricardo Broxham of South Africa. He was one of the riders who gained the lap in his qualification heat earlier today. Meanwhile, both riders involved in the crash are still wanting to get back into the race. It looks like the Mexican rider here is looking for some attention to his bike. Charlie Calvert just about to get back on board. So we'll return to the action, hopefully without losing any lap disadvantage. South Africa now being chased by France, who are beginning to wind up the pace here. It is Samuel Thibault of France, second spot. Calvert rejoins the race. Mexican is still sideline here, running out of laps to get back into the action. It's Estrada of Mexico, who finished fourth in his qualification heat, but still work continuing on the Mexican bike. And I think the bad news being imparted to Estrada of Mexico that he's now out of the race. Well, misfortune there for the Mexican. He was back on his feet almost immediately, but the Mexican team struggled to get his bike back into serviceable order. And 5 laps have gone past. Unfortunately, Estrada will take no further part in the scratch race final. Meanwhile, though, our 2 leading riders have come together. South Africa and France are the head of the race. They're almost in the same straight as the back of the main field. So these 2 could be the first to look at a lap gain here. They did it, both of them, in their respective qualification heats. Broxham of South Africa and Thibaut of France. French rider in the dark blue colours, Broxham of South Africa in the green and yellow. They are the leading 2 riders just coming out of the finishing straight and into the back straight. Meanwhile, the main field, headed by the rider there on the front for Argentina, as they come into the back straight, are leading 2, are more than half a lap to the good. It's Thibaut of France, Broxham of South Africa, your leading 2 riders. Now the Kiwi on the front of the main field senses the danger of the lap game that is impending here. It's Kieran who goes in the attack, drawing out the riders at the head of the chasing group. Czech Republic in second spot there in the chase group, below the French rider and the South African are getting ever closer to joining the rear of that main field. 29 laps to go as those 2 riders are now within catching distance at the back of the main field, which is strung out now. The pressure still being applied by the rider from New Zealand, Kieran looking over his shoulder for a little bit of support as Kazakhstan and Czech Republic get involved in the action as well at the front of the chasing peloton. But the head of the race, the 2 riders from South Africa and France, they will have 27 laps to go for the main field, 26 for those 2. And it looks as though they weren't too far away from getting a lap, but the main field have accelerated that pressure course applied by, in particular, the rider from New Zealand, Watts, in the early stage, and the Swiss rider also, Bieler, there on the front of that group. And Charlie Calvert, of course, was involved in that crash that also took the Mexican as the race. Calvert now back up into what is essentially 4th place in the track at the moment. He's second in that chasing peloton as our 2 leaders come underneath the scoreboard once more and into the finishing straight with 24 laps this men's scratch race final to go. Well, this lap game, which a few laps ago seemed inevitable, is now proven to be a little bit more of a challenge for these 2. And in fact, the main field splitting into 2 distinct groups. The Swiss rider at the back of the first of the groups, the Czech Republic rider chasing the front of the next one. It is still Thibaut and Broxham, but their advantage being whittled away now as this chasing group, which numbers 5 riders, goes into the back straight. Meanwhile, the leaders are into the home straight with 22 laps to go. Well, it's now looking less and less likely they'll gain the lap, and in fact Thibaut of France the first to sit up and recognise his fate, and he is back into the first half of the peloton. Broxham also, so it's a brave move by those 2. They almost profited from the lap game, but not quite able to achieve it, and they're now back into the action. The Korean rider is the one who now goes off the front of the reformed main field, all back together with the exception of the Korean, who is now the head of the race in the finishing straight on his own now for Korea. Number 242 is the head of the race now. The leading rider on the track is Yu Yong Park of Korea. He was the rider who took second place in his qualification race earlier today, gaining a lap in the process. And very quickly, it looks as though Park is also looking to do that once more. Now, there is no giving up here for Ricardo Broxham of South Africa, because no sooner was he caught than he's gone on the attack once more. So it is still Park of Korea, and he is getting quite close to the rear of what is now a strung-out main field. Broxham of South Africa, second wheel, then the front of the main field, headed by the rider just going through the finish line there. That's Verbeger from Austria. But here comes the Korean. This looks like the lap gain is going to happen for Park of Korea. When he makes contact with the rear of that group, he will gain a lap and is now the leader of the race. The head of the race on the track is now the South African rider Broxham, and he, though, will be caught back by the main field as Charlie Calvert of Great Britain is the rider who is animating the action in the main field. So Broxham is back into the fold. Just 1 rider with 1 lap to the good. It is Park of Korea, the leading rider, and at the moment he is in gold medal position. Still 15 laps to go, and the drama in this men's scratch race continues. 2 more riders go on the attack as they realise that the battle is currently for the silver and bronze medals, with Park sitting pretty in that main field with a lap gain to his advantage. And the riders who have decided to take this one on from the front are from Colombia, Nicolas Gomez in the light blue colours here, and the rider who has gone with him in this attacking move is the Kazakhstani, and that is Ramis Dinamikatov of Kazakhstan. Those are your 2 leading riders now. Switzerland head the main field along with Austria, but the leaders have an advantage of just under quarter of a lap with 12 to go. Here is the main field. Once again, the attacking move from Kieran of New Zealand. We saw him bring back those 2 escapees earlier in the effort he put in to limit the gains of Broxham and the rider from France a little bit earlier in the race, Thibaut, who looks as though they might have gained that lap, but now Watts is trying to make contact with the leading 2, the Colombian and the Kazakhstan rider. Will be joined by the rider from New Zealand, Kieran Watts, but the main field aren't too far behind either. But Watts has gone straight through the 2 leaders and continuing on his own as first the Colombian and then the Kazakhstani is reabsorbed by the main field. It is Kieran Watts of New Zealand, still your leading rider in the black and white colours here. 9 laps to go. Remember, Ju Young Park of Korea, the only rider in the field so far to have gained laps. He's at the back at the moment, but he is the leading rider by virtue of the number of laps completed, and if it stays this way, he will be your winner of the race. But the man at the front animating the charge to try and equal that achievement of the park and gain a lap as well is Kieran Watts of New Zealand. Laps ticking down, just 8 remaining, so the opportunity for a lap gain diminishes lap by lap. France, once again, we thought Thibaut of France on the attack earlier in the race, and here he is again coming to the fore, and he is the first to catch Watts. Can Watts grab the wheel of Thibaut? No, he can't, so the Frenchman now is the head of the race and is in 2nd place in the race at the moment, with Park, the lap gain rider, still in the main field. Thibaut of France followed by Watts of New Zealand, then the main field in the back straight. More attacking moves coming now as the laps run out. 5 laps to go. It is Thibaut of France who is the head of the race, riding the dark blue colours in the back straight, still being chased by Watts of New Zealand. And now the main field once again being lined out. Park of Korea, 3rd from the back, but he is the rider with that lap gain. 4 laps to go, and it is still Thibaut of France. Looks like Watt is going to get caught by the chasing peloton here as once again riders peel off the front of that chasing group. It is still Thibaut of France, still in the theoretical silver medal position at the moment. 3 laps to go. Watts now back in the main field. He's still at the front though, so still the attacks come, and it is Broxham of South Africa. We saw him twice trying to attack, but look, a big attacking move coming around the outside here. The rider from Poland is trying to make this 2nd place his own. The rider who has gone on the attack and is rapidly gaining ground at the head of the race from Poland is Propiskin of Poland. Here he comes. It is still Thibaut at the head of the race for France. So Poland now in 2nd spot with the Czech Republic 3rd. We're into the bell lap. Where is our race leader? He is safely towards the back of the bench. It is going to be a gold medal here for Korea, but the battle for the 2nd place here between Poland and France on the line. It is Poland, and my word is the rider from Poland pleased with that one, punching the air, just denying Samuel Thibaut of France on the line. So silver medal for Filip Popomskin of Poland. The bronze will go to Samuel Thibaut of France, but the rider who wins the race and takes the gold medal by virtue of the only lap gain made during those 11.5 minutes of full-on action is Ju Young Park of Korea, the gold medalist and junior world scratch race champion. 52.076 kilometers per hour. I told you to be fast, and it certainly was. There was no let up in the action at all. Plenty of attacking moves, but only one that mattered, and the man who gained the lap was Ju Young Park of Korea, and takes Korea's first gold medal of these junior world track cycling championships. He's, as you can imagine, justifiably pleased with that one. Once he gained the lap, he knew all he had to do was stay in that main field, be watchful of any other riders who gained the lap. No one quite managed to do it, despite that attacking move, first of all from Watts of New Zealand, then Thibaut of France, and then finally that big run to the line from Proposkin of Poland, which eventually brought him the silver medal position, pushing Thibaut down to 3rd in a great junior men's scratch race final. Well, the Polish delegation over there in the back straight, congratulating their man on the silver medal. Quite been able to locate a Polish flag for him to parade around the track, nor has the gold medalist, the Korean rider, Park. You can see the effort that was required in that race, just glancing over at the back straight, and a couple of riders climbing off the bike and immediately lying down, and amongst them was probably the most attacking rider in the race. It was Kieran of New Zealand. He eventually finished well down the field, unfortunately, but it wasn't for the want of trying. Watts eventually finishing second from last in 18th spot. But he certainly did put in several moves to try and gain the advantage. So credit to him for a very attacking ride, but taking nothing away from the top three. And we will see them on the podium a little bit later this evening for our medal ceremony for the men's scratch race. So whilst we get our breath back from that incredible men's scratch race final, can I just remind you we have one piece of unfinished business in the women's sprint competition. The two riders involved here are being proffered the tablet. There you go, and you can see who's drawn which position there. So position 1 for Andriva, she will start on the inside. It is Ksenia Andriva of the Russian Federation versus Nikola Sibiak of Poland for the one remaining place in the semi-finals of the women's sprint. Of course, we'll continue the action on day 3 of these World Championships tomorrow. But it was Sibiak of Poland who took victory in their first encounter. Andriva hit back with victory in match 2, so this is the decider. The winner of this one will go into the semis, where they will join Leah Sophie Friedrich, Jifang Hu of the People's Republic of China, and rider from Germany, Alessa Katjona Probster. So it all comes down to these 3 laps of the track. See the Russian there just making sure the feet are fully secured to the pedals. One done, the other one just to complete. And then they will come to the line. You saw they drew, and that she will start in the inside position, so is obliged to lead away for the opening lap, unless her opponent elects to take the lead instead. Ksenia Andriva of the Russian Federation, Nikola Sibiak of Poland. So it is Sibiak who is first to present herself on the start line. Just attaching the visor, which is held firmly by magnets. So provided you don't ride past a very strong magnetic field, which could cause it to become detached, I suspect it's a good way of very rapidly deploying the visor on the front of the helmet. Her opponent is now in position as well. That is Ksenia Andriva of the Russian Federation. So 1 match each. This is the decider for a place in the semi-finals of the junior women's sprint. Thumbs up from the team in the back straight. All of the scratch race riders finally departed from the track. Starter realises he's lacking a vital piece of armoury in the starter's pistol, retrieves it from trackside, ensures both riders are ready to go, and the whistle will get them underway. Andriva of the Russian Federation on the inside, Sibiak of Poland on the outside. So away they go, and Andriva happy to lead away. Sibiak, of course, already with a gold medal, already with a medal, I should say. So it was a bronze medal in the team sprint yesterday. Ideally like to secure her spot in the semi-finals of this women's sprint, and she has accordingly taken the lead with a lap to go in the finishing straight this time. So the pressure once again on Andriva, who had to come back in the second one to force this decider. Can she get around Sibiak this time? Pole with the advantage of the inside line. The longer way round is required for Andriva of the Russian Federation. She's left it very late indeed, and she's left it too late. So it will be Poland who progress into the semi-finals, and Nikola Sibiak is the 4th rider through to tomorrow's semi-finals. Acknowledging the applause of the crowd, particularly the Polish members thereof. So we look forward to continuation of what's been a great women's sprint competition so far. That will resume tomorrow, day 3 of these World Championships. In the meantime, though, we will be moving into the first of our victory ceremonies. In fact, there'll be 2 victory ceremonies. First for the men's team pursuit, followed by the victory ceremony for the race we saw a few moments ago, the men's scratch race. That'll then be followed by the final of the men's Kieran. Thereafter, the final of the women's team pursuit will bring the competitive action to a conclusion here on day 2 of the 2018 Junior Track Cycling World Championships, here live from Aigle in Switzerland. I sincerely hope you're enjoying our live coverage here this afternoon. And we've seen some great racing, I'm sure you'll agree. And now it is time for the medals and the accolades to be presented. Just a view here of the crowd who have been enjoying the racing here. Many travelling here to the velodrome by bicycle, as you can see from the machines parked neatly around the concourse. A very nice cycle track actually runs past the rear of the World Cycling Centre. And one is enjoying a very pleasant lunch outdoors. The velodrome restaurant, many people pedalling past. Quite a few we saw yesterday actually laden down with panniers, and no doubt enjoying a nice camping holiday. The beautiful weather conditions that we're currently enjoying here in Switzerland. So spectators from all over the world followed the riders here and are supporting them. Flags of all the major nations involved here displayed at key points around the velodrome. It was quite a battle for fixing materials yesterday to ensure that the flags can be placed in the relevant positions by the supporters. And they are decorating the walls here of the World Cycling Centre. So our presentation party almost ready to go. You see a familiar face down there of Franco Morvuli, now retired from racing, and actually our venue commentator here. He did the job back in 2016 as well. Great to catch up with Franco once again here this year. You see the Canadians have managed to get their flags. Well, it's a very nice picture. Quite a few of them are dotted around the walls here at the World Cycling Centre of the great riders from the world of both track and road. Very poignant photo on the wall there. The Canadians have picked their little spot here around the periphery of the track. So this first medal ceremony is for the men's team pursuit. So plenty of medals and jerseys here, of course, because 4 members of the team. In fact, if you have riders who compete in the earlier rounds and then don't take the start in the final, you're entitled to put them on the podium as well. So sometimes we actually see more than 4 riders as part of the medal ceremony, but I think on this occasion 4 from each of the medal-winning teams. New Zealand, of course, the gold medalists, France the silver, and Australia the bronze. So a rather large number of flowers required. And a bit of quick counting going on here to make sure we've got the right number. Takes a good grip to hold on to that many bouquets of flowers successfully. More discussions taking place around the track here. And the reflections on what has been a super day of action here on day 2. Well, you can still watch back the action here if you missed out anything yesterday. If you go to the UCI YouTube channel, we've got the video coverage from yesterday available for you to watch over and over again. And now I think we are ready to bring the riders forward for the first protocol ceremony, the victory ceremony for the men's team pursuit. And if YouTube eludes you, don't forget we're also on Facebook as well. I'm sure you can probably replay the action via Facebook also. So both of our streaming channels for you here from the World Championships in Aigle. If you are one of our regular viewers, I hope you're enjoying the great racing. But here come the presentation party. The Australian team being marshalled here by our presentation coordinator. And the New Zealanders, arguably with the biggest smile, and justifiably so, because they are the gold medal winners. So there we go, full lineup. So it is President of the UCI, David Lepassion, who will be presenting the medals and the jerseys. And there you see the blonde riders of Australia: Blake Quick, Lucas Plapp, Matthew Rice and Luke White. I don't know if they're all natural blondes or there's a little bit of team hair dyeing has gone on before these championships. So the bronze medals for Australia. We move on now to the silver medalists. And this will be the nation of France. As I mentioned earlier, the riders who didn't compete in the subsequent rounds of the competition also get to go up for the medals. That is Louis Brul, who rode in the qualifiers, and alongside Donovan Grandin, Nicolas Hamon, Florian Pardon and Kevin Vauquelin are the riders who will receive the silver medals for the men's team pursuit. And so on to the world champions, who will receive not only the gold medals but also the coveted rainbow jerseys of junior world champions, and it is New Zealand. Much to the delight of the New Zealand members of the crowd here, of which there are quite a few. And the four riders who are about to receive the jerseys and the medals: Corbin Strong, George Jackson, Finn Fisher-Black and Bailey O'Donnell. So the world champion jersey, be it junior or senior, one of the most coveted jerseys in world cycling. And how often we see riders who achieve success at junior world level go on to be senior world champions in subsequent years. The New Zealanders improving their performance of 2 years ago. So the jersey's just about installed, just one more to go. So a competition which began yesterday and was ridden to its conclusion today. New Zealand, of course, were bronze medalists last year as well at the World Championships in Montichiari. So silver medalists here in Aigle in 2006. So this time it really is the gold. And there are the medals. Thereafter we will have the flowers and then, of course, the national anthem of New Zealand. Glancing down, almost in disbelief at that gold medal. What a great achievement. So there they are, the junior world champions for the men's team pursuit. New Zealand: Corbin Strong, George Jackson, Finn Fisher-Black and Bailey O'Donnell. They take the top step on the podium, with France the silver medalists and Australia the bronze medalists, who will receive the flowers. All ready to wave the flags here, spectators at the side of the track. The mammoth flower presentation is reaching its climax here. Just got the gold medalists to go in a moment. Nice touch here at the Junior World Championships, the top step on the podium, denoted by the rainbow bands reflecting those on the jersey. And here are the flowers for the gold medalists, the team of New Zealand. So there we go. And now it is time for the national anthem of New Zealand. New Zealand, the world champions, France, the silver medalists, and Australia, the bronze. That was our men's team pursuit victory ceremony. I think we're going to go for the obligatory, just take a bite out of the medal to prove it's the real thing. Our photographers love that shot. We'll have one a little lower down as well. The riders, well, they don't mind. They're basking in their moments of glory as the new world champions. And look at that, celebrating, congratulating each other on a job very well done. The task of signing the souvenir jerseys. I get quite a lot of signatures onto that jersey in the team pursuit. Jerseys from Santini, one of our key sponsors here for the UCI Track Cycling World Championships. We'll bring you another victory ceremony in just a moment, which was the victory ceremony for that incredibly closely fought men's scratch race final. And the first medal of these championships for Korea. I'm just hearing, actually, while we just watch the riders signing the jerseys there, that we may be looking at a rerun of that deciding heat in the women's sprint. I'm sure on the background to that at the moment. Just hearing that in my ear from our venue announcer here. That was the Nicholas Spiak and Krasnia Andreeva battle. More of that anon, but let us focus our attention on the upcoming victory ceremony, which we are preparing for here at trackside. And you can see there the battle scars of the rider who was felled in that battle earlier, man from France, but stretched away. But the good news is that he appears to be bar numerous adhesive plasters of various locations, otherwise okay, and that is good to see. So just as the crowd have many items with which to make noise, we are preparing for the victory ceremony for the UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championship men's scratch race. Still got Keyring finals for the men and team pursuit finals for the women, notwithstanding a potential rerun of one of the rounds of the matches of the quarterfinals of the women's sprint. But now, as the UCI Anthem rings out here at the World Cycling Centre, and the presentation party make their way, it is the victory ceremony for the men's scratch race. So the first medal presentation, of course, will be for the rider who took the bronze medal. It'll be Samuel Thibault of France. And medals and jerseys represented by Tony Kirsch, a member of the UCI Management Committee. So Samuel Thibault, Frenchman, taking the bronze medal. Second place, the silver medal, taken by Poland and Filip Propomskin. Final run to the line for the Polish rider here. But of course, there was only ever going to be one winner once he gained that lap, and no one else was able to do so. So to collect the gold medal and the title of UCI Junior World Scratch Race Champion, representing Korea, is Ju Young Park. It was a great ride, without any doubt, for Park of Korea. And he pulls on that rainbow jersey of Junior World Champion. And that will be accompanied, of course, by the gold medal. And the congratulations as he takes the top step of the podium. And now the medalists will also receive the flags. So it'll be turn of the Korean national anthem. A polite bow from Ju Young Park as he receives the flowers. And here we have the national anthem of Korea. So the first medal for the men here of these World Championships for Korea, but of course it's the second Korean medal in the scratch race, because it was Ju Yeon Shin who won the women's scratch race yesterday and took the gold medal for Korea in the women's scratch race final. So great scratch racing for both Korean men and women. joined on the podium by the silver and bronze medalist. There they are. So, the completion of the victory ceremony for the men's scratch race.
어제 여기 지은이가 여기다 했어. 어디 할래? 네 원하는 데다 해줘.
So just been listening into our venue commentator, trying to gain some insight into why we have a rerun here. But a rerun we have between Nicola Sibiak and Ksenia Andriva for that remaining place in the semi-finals of the women's sprint. So this is kind of the best of four now. So no question, it was Sibiak of Poland who was penalised because she won the first attempt at the decider. Subsequently, positions were reversed, taking them back to stalemate, because before that they had one match each. I must admit, I didn't notice a particular indiscretion, but that's not to say it didn't happen. We'll know the reason. We will, at the end of every day of competition here, we get a list of decisions that have been made by the Commissaire's panel, so we will be able to shed some light on the mystery tomorrow, maybe, if not today. But in the meantime, we will focus our attention back on this rerun of Heat 3, Match 3 of the women's junior sprint quarterfinals. So once again, it is Nicola Sibiak who is first to the line. She thought she was home and dry. Got across the line ahead of Ksenia Andriva at the end of the first run of the decider, but they're doing it again. So it is the Polish rider on the inside and the Russian rider on the outside. Well, it may well be that it's decided that Sibiak impeded the forward progress of her opponent at some point during the deciding ride. So here we go. Can Sibiak put the seal on it this time? Andriva gets to try again. And she takes the lead as they come underneath the scoreboard. She's on the outside, the longer way to go around. Sibiak on the inside. 1 lap to go. Still nothing in this one. And Sibiak is inside that Redskins line. She has to say that her opponent cannot dip down inside it, but Sibiak still has the advantage coming into the finishing straight. Sibiak of Poland across the line. Well, I can't see too much wrong with that one, I have to say. But I couldn't see too much wrong with the one before it. So anyway, that's subject to us being told otherwise, is now final confirmation that Nicola Sibiak of Poland will take her place in the next round of the women's sprint. That is the semi-finals, which take place during the course of competition here tomorrow. So it is the time for the Keyring Final, and if there's any race in the litany events that make up the World Championships, that is occasionally wont to test the decision skills of our commentators. It quite often is the Kieran. 7 laps of the track on this occasion, due to the fact it is a 200-metre track. And the electric pacing bicycle, which will pick up the riders at 30 kilometres per hour, depart from the track with 3.5 laps to go in the back straight at a pace of 50 kilometres per hour. Riders drawing for position. The first final we will see is the one for places 7 through to 12, so not the medal final, that will follow. And the riders who will be involved in what is normally called the minor final for the non-medal positions. For the Czech Republic will be Jiří Luksik. For Greece, Konstantinos Livanos. For Italy, Matteo Pongilupi. For New Zealand, Thomas Garbett. For Poland, Cezary Lankowski. And for Russia, Ivan Gladchev. Those are the riders in the minor final for places 7 through to 12 in the men's Keyring. So these are essentially the riders who came in 3rd and 4th place in the previous round of the competition. Rider who has drawn the inside position for New Zealand is Thomas Garbett in the black and white. Alongside him, the rider for the Czech Republic, Jiří Luksik. Greece next in line with Konstantinos Livanos alongside him. For Russian Federation, Ivan Gladchev. And then we have for Poland, Cezary Laskowski. And last but not least, on the outside for Italy, Matteo Pongilupi. Here comes the electric gurney. If ever there was a device in track cycling that divides opinion, it's the use of the electric gurney. Some track purists mourn the loss of the pedal-operated, 2-stroke powered Gurney bike that's for so many years been the character of this event, but in the interests of environmental responsibility, the latest technology being employed here, as it has been for several years actually in the World Championships. No necessity for the pacer to pedal, just gently increasing the throttle, if that is the correct description for the device on an electronic gurney that increases its pace. I suspect it probably is. It's actually got a speedometer on the handlebars, so he knows that he's at 30k when he picks up the riders and at 50k when he leaves the track. A little gap here being left between the rider on the wheel of the gurney, that is Thomas Garbett of New Zealand, and the rider second in line for the Czech Republic, Jiří Luksik. Now Luksik takes closer order as the gurney leaves the track. Still the rider from Greece, Livanos, in second spot, but it is New Zealand versus Czech Republic, and it is Luksik who takes the lead here for the Czech Republic, but fight back from Garbett of New Zealand. The rider who has moved up into 3rd place is the man from the Russian Federation, Ivan Gladchev, but coming around the outside here is a late challenge from Poland and Cezary Laskowski. Laskowski will get the advantage into the finishing straight. Laskowski of Poland, with 1 lap to go, takes the lead and begins to distance New Zealand in second place. Russian Federation 3rd, then it's Italy in 4th. Czech Republic and Greece are fading, but here into the finishing straight to take victory in the minor final for the men's Kieran will be the rider from Poland, Ivan Gladchev of the Russian Federation, finishing in 3rd place, and at second spot for Thomas Garbett of New Zealand. But the winner for Poland was Cezary Laskowski. So just a rerun on our screen of that run to the line there. You can see the attack from Laskowski. It came late, but it was a decisive one. He had the great turn of pace to move around the outside and just dropping into that sprinter's line, having gained ground ahead of Garbett of New Zealand. And with a lap to go, he was in full flight. And the challenge of the rest of the race had faded by this time. Laskowski knew he had the winning of this minor final, and so it proved to be. So the man in the red and white of Poland, Cezary Laskowski, is the winner of the minor final ahead of Ivan Gladchev of Russian Federation, who finishes second or 8th in the classification. Thomas Garbett finishes in 3rd place in that heat and 9th overall. Ponjalupi 10th, Livanos of Greece 11th, and Luksik of the Czech Republic is 12th. So that is the minor final wrapped up, and we now turn our attention to the medal battle. And you can see the face of concentration there on Anton Höhner of Germany, as he is presented with the iPad of Doom, proving that track mitts are not ideal for making contact with the touchscreen technology, helpfully assisted by our assistant starter. The Kazakhstanis, though, have developed the technology to operate a touchscreen via metered track mitt. The Australians have got fingerless mitts, so that's okay. There is the French rider making his position. The rider from India gets position number 2. And by process of elimination, it is slot number 1 for the Czech Republic and Jakub Štančný. So this is the one for the medals. 1st to 6th place final in the men's Kieran. And there is a full lineup for you on your screen. Lee Hoffman of Australia, Jakub Štančný of the Czech Republic, Florian Grembo of France, Anton Höhner of Germany, Esau of India, and Andrei Chugay of Kazakhstan. So as I mentioned in commentary earlier in the day, India really on the upward trend in the world of track cycling. Numerous velodromes springing up around the country, and that's great increase in the amount of infrastructure beginning to be reflected in the success of riders internationally as well. And Esau here, a very good chance of a medal in the men's Kieran. First to be wheeled out onto trackside is Lee Hoffman of Australia. So the riders line up in the order that they drew, as we saw a few moments ago, and they are obliged to take up position behind the Derny also in that order. Andrei Chugay of Kazakhstan. A few moments left to contemplate what lies ahead. Lee Hoffman of Australia. Our camera reflected back in the visor on his helmet. Florian Grembo of France. The team sprint yesterday. Anton Höhner of Germany. The aforementioned Indian representative, Esau. Czech Republic is the last man in the line, and on the inside position for Jakub Štančný. And Štančný carries a warning from one of the earlier rounds of the competition, so he'll need to be mindful of his conduct in this final. Our starter just making his way down the line, just making sure that all the riders are ready to go. He'll then give the indication to the Derny that they are ready, and it will begin its journey from the back straight. When it's arrived just short of the start line in the home straight, the gun will fire and the heat will be underway. Štančný will be the rider who takes up position behind the Derny bike. He's travelling at 30 kilometres per hour now. So there we go. And we still have the women's team pursuit finals yet to come. So this our penultimate final of the day before the bronze, silver and gold medal finals of the women's team pursuit. Still Štančný on the wheel of the Derny, Esau of India in second spot. Chugay of Kazakhstan bringing up the rear. Tall figure of Höhner of Germany, middle of that lot. Just behind him is rider from France, Grembo, and Lee Hoffman just ahead of Chugay of Kazakhstan, Hoffman for Australia. Pace gradually increasing Still, the order remains unchanged now. We see the first significant move as the Derny leaves the track, and it is Hona of Germany who has taken up lead position ahead of Stajny from the Czech Republic. SUI of India in third place at the moment, with Grembo of France in fourth, and now Hoffman of Australia starts to go around the outside. It's still advantage for Germany on the front, but Hoffman of Australia trying to make his move around the outside. SUI of India finds himself boxed in there in third place. He's trying to get out of that box. He's behind the rider of the Czech Republic as the challenge from the German begins to fade, and the Czech Republic who take up the lead. 1 lap to go. Czech Republic being now chased by India. Are India on the way to their first world medal in the Keyring? SUI of India is coming off the final banking here. Can he get past Stajny of the Czech Republic? It's going to be ever so close on the line. It's a silver medal for India and SUI, but the gold will go to Jakub Stajny of the Czech Republic. Wow, what a great final that was, and what a great ride from SUI of India. He is absolutely delighted with that, as well he might be. I told you they were on the upward spiral, and that is a silver medal for India and SUI, but the gold for Jakub Stajny of the Czech Republic. Here's a rerun of that final lap. Here comes SUI around the outside. He's not quite got the pace to get over the Czech rider here as he comes to the line. They both throw the bikes. It is advantage for Czech Republic. And SUI, well, he tried his absolute hardest, and a very creditable ride indeed to deliver that silver medal. A lunge for the line. He wasn't far away. It was half a wheel in the final analysis, and a very close for third between France and Kazakhstan. We'll wait for confirmation of that one. And it was, in fact, Chugay of Kazakhstan who got the bronze medal ahead of Grembo of France. But there is your gold medal winner and World Junior Kieran champion. And that is Jakub Stajny of the Czech Republic. The silver for SUI of India, and the bronze for Andrei Chugay of Kazakhstan. Confirmation of the top 6 in the men's Kieran. That victory ceremony will be upcoming following the women's team pursuit finals, which are the final competitive action on the track for today. And I can tell you that SUI has found an Indian flag and is proudly displaying it as he rides around the track here. Thumbs up from, I think people of many nations actually are really pleased to see that great ride there by India, and SUI take the silver medal. And the Kazakhstan rider has also got his national flag. It's only Czech Republic who failed in the flag department at the moment. But I think actually that Stajny has got one. Just got to unfurl it yet. He's still busy being congratulated by his team officials. But I think the photographer's looking for that photo opportunity with the world champion. And there is the flag. So as those celebrations continue, we will turn our attention to the women's team pursuit finals. And the first final will be for the bronze medal, and it will take place between Great Britain, who will start in the home straight, and Australia, who will start in the back straight. So the British lineup as they come to the track: Ellie Russell, Ella Barnwell, Pfeiffer Georgie and Eleanor Backstead. And the team for Australia, who are climbing aboard the machines in the back straight, represented by Lauren Robarts, Alexandra Martin-Wallace, Alice Culling and Sophie Edwards. So the old rivals here at the Junior World Championships, Great Britain and Australia in the battle for bronze. .436.621 recorded by Great Britain in the first round. Australia 436.641, so 0.02 of a second separated them. The last round of competition, so this may well be close. Away we go. Great Britain in the home straight, Australia in the back straight. Both teams making a good start. A little bit of a gap in the Australian team between the first two and the second two. No such problem for Great Britain. course, we will give you the time splits at each completion of the first 3 kilometres. Time taken on the 3rd rider to cross the finish line. Marginal advantage for the Australians of 0.3 of a second, the opening laps. Our first significant checkpoint will be after the first 5 laps, the opening kilometre. Still good formation from both teams. And I think Great Britain now just sneaking ahead by 0.7 of a second. We're at the conclusion of that opening kilometre, and it is advantage Great Britain in 1:10.892. Australia 1:11.637. That is just a quarter distance, so still a long way to go yet. Remember, these teams tend to work out their schedule to bring the better pace in the closing laps. So being in the lead at the conclusion of the opening kilometre is good, but not necessarily an indication of the final result. Just to re-emphasise once again how close these two teams were, simply separated by a handful of hundredths of a second this morning. Still all 4 British team coach there, side of the track, just walking the line. Monica Eden and the Australians are through into the back straight as well. Their team coach also giving them an indication of their pace. At the conclusion of the 2nd kilometre, it is still advantage to Great Britain, and it's just 0.4 of a second the difference. 2:17.456 for Great Britain, 2:17.865 for Australia. Great Britain lose their first rider, and first to be dropped off for the squad there for Great Britain is number 28, and that of course is Ellie Russell. And also the riders here from Australia, looked as though they were about to lose their 4th rider, but they are continuing with all 4. She's closed the gap down once more, so theoretical advantage in weight of numbers for Australia, but Great Britain have been in the lead at both checkpoints so far, and are beginning to turn the screw here. They're still ahead. The gap is 0.446, so Australia beginning the fight back, and now they are down to 3 as well. So the 3 of Great Britain, Ella Barnwell, 5 for Georgie and Eleanor Backstead, and the 3 from Australia as they go through the line as well. It's 0.285 of a second in the favour of Great Britain. Rider dropped from the Australian lineup is Lauren Robarts. That leaves Alexander, Martin Wallace, Alice Culling and Sophie Edwards to deliver this one for Australia. Still just 0.25 of a second, the closeness we saw in the first round and in the qualification times continues to be reflected in this final. Still just advantage for Great Britain by 0.5 of a second. 3,400 metres covered. And we're into the final 2 laps when the teams reach their starting stations this time. That's the home straight for Great Britain, the back straight for Australia. Here they come, 2 to go. Well, the advantage now for Great Britain has increased to 1.181 of a second, so it looks as though that fast start from Great Britain has been replicated throughout this one. Being encouraged with a lap to go. On the front for Great Britain is Ella Barnwell, and it looks like Great Britain are going to score the bronze medal here in the junior women's team pursuit. Across the line they go in 4:32.636. It is a bronze medal for Great Britain. Ellie Russell, Ella Barnwell, 5 for Georgie and Eleanor Backstead. And 4th place for Australia, 4:35.380. Lauren Robarts, Alexandra, Martin Wallace, Alice Culling and Sophie Edwards. Well, the medal for Great Britain, the bronze. The women's team pursuit squad, they were world champions back in 2013, the championships in Glasgow. And the bronze medal here, good performance indeed from the British squad of Ellie Russell, Ella Barnwell, 5 for Georgie and Eleanor Backstead. So we'll see them on the podium to receive their bronze medal a little bit later, but meanwhile, the final competitive action on the track today will be the gold and silver medal final in the women's team pursuit. And involved in this one are the team who last year in the final took the world record, 4:21.554. The team of Italy will start in the home straight, represented by Giorgia Casazzi, Sofia Colinelli, Silvia Zanardi and Vittoria Guazzini. Their opponents in the back straight are New Zealand, already been on the podium in the men's team pursuit. Let's see if we can replicate that one for the women. It is the team of Ali Wollaston, Sammy Donnelly, Anna-Marie Lipp and Mackenzie Milne. So New Zealand posting a 4:31.216 in the preceding round, and Italy 4:29.312. Some distance away from the world record set last year in Montichiari, but sufficient advantage to give them the upper hand going into this final. The New Zealand team already on board in the back straight, just a little adjustment, final adjustment being made in the starting gate for the Italians in the home straight, and they too now get the flag, but they are all ready to go. 20 laps of the track, 4 kilometres to determine who will be the women's team pursuit junior world champions. Italy in the home straight, New Zealand in the back straight. Into the final 18 seconds. The bleeps become more insistent in the final 10. And the final extended bleep, the synthesized gunshot, will get the race underway. Our split screen view, and the countdown in the middle, showing you both teams taking the start. And we have a false start. And it was the team in the home straight, the team of Italy, who have been penalised with a false start. The reason I know that is we have got the very latest technology at work here in Aigle, not only dependent now on our human eye, but also on the keen electronic eye, and the lap board of the offending nation flashes red and green at the top if the false start has been called. That fate befell the Italians in the home straight. If we get a replay of that, we'll perhaps be able to determine who committed the indiscretion. It will either be one of the 3 riders who weren't in the gate, crossing the line ahead of the rider in the gate. And indeed, it looked like the second rider in the line there, who just edged over the line before the rider in the gate had been released. And that is a false start. So you get 2 opportunities. You can't do it again, otherwise they will gift the medal to New Zealand. It used to be that all kinds of techniques are employed at the start of the team pursuit to try and avoid the problem of the false start, including starting riders at a 45-degree angle. Rule changes in recent years have prevented that now happening. They do have to start in a straight line. It's a set distance apart, which is marked out on the track. And it must be the rider in the gate who crosses the line first when the gun fires. The other 3 riders, of course, held by human rather than mechanical means. So they have to make sure they only relinquish their grip when the start has been given. Sometimes more difficult than it appears as the riders attempt to depart. Sometimes they'll engage in a rocking motion to try and synthesize their movements in line with the countdown clock. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and they get it a little bit wrong. But Italy will have to make sure that this one is absolutely perfect. And I think the Italian team manager here is not happy with the way the bike has been positioned in the starting gate, asking for it to be repositioned. The front wheel has to have some clear air in front of that finishing line, usually the width of a commissaire's finger, if we're being specific about it, so that it doesn't trigger the timing immediately. Our camera focusing down on the line, you can see how close that front wheel is to the line and how close the riders are to committing the indiscretion of a false start. It literally is a matter of millimetres. New Zealanders have watched all that happen. They are in the back straight. Of course, they still need to be mindful they need to get cleanly away as well. Once again, we'll be into the countdown. Second opportunity for Italy in the home straight. In the gold and silver medal final. Faces of concentration on both teams. The next 20 laps will decide their fate and the colour of the medal they will take away. Once again, our split screen, the final 5-second countdown. And we're okay that time. Both teams cleanly away. The entire nation of Italy breathing a collective sigh of relief, I'm quite sure. Now, of course, they've got to produce the goods on the track against the tough opponents that are New Zealand. As you mentioned, Italy at last year's World Championships, Junior World Championships in Monticello, were the holders of the new world record in 4:21.554. Not see anything close to that performance here today in Aigle. This is a slightly different track in terms of distance. Makes no difference to the world record because it's the same distance they're covering, but the number of laps are different, and it's a whole psychological battle as well. It can just affect the mindset a little bit. The riders, of course, accustomed to covering 16 laps in a 250-metre track. It's probably what they train at venues around the world to do. But coming to competition here in Aigle, where the track is 200 metres, covering an extra 4 laps to give the full 4-kilometre distance. So just 0.096 of a second between the two at the moment in the favour of New Zealand. Looks like Italy are beginning to hit back. Yes, they are. 0.445 now for the New Zealand team. So fortune's literally swinging lap by lap here. Italy, though, with almost a second lead now, so they definitely have recovered very quickly indeed from that false start, and now are beginning to put the New Zealanders under pressure. At the end of the opening kilometre, Italy have the lead in 1:12.747, New Zealand 1:12.916. Only 0.2 of a second to the end of that kilometre, but it's beginning to increase now to 1.2 seconds as the pressure is on New Zealand to try and answer the pace of the Italians. Of course, they may well be scheduled to increase their speed towards the conclusion of this ride. But they need to be mindful of the pace of the Italians nevertheless. If you're caught in the final, then it's game over. A long way from that scenario at the moment, with still just 1.7 seconds separating the team, but it's still advantage for Italy. Both teams still with all 4 riders. See with our split screen there the difference, 8 laps to go. The Italians continuing to turn the screw, 2.035 seconds now. That translates to the halfway point to 2 minutes 17.563 for Italy and 2:19.275 for New Zealand. So the New Zealanders really do need to try and lift it now. They're down to 3 riders as they've lost the 4th member of the team. The Italians still with all 4 riders going strongly here. Well, that further disadvantages New Zealand. 1 less rider to share the necessity of making the pace. The rider who has been dropped there by New Zealand is Sammy Donnelly. And the Italians into the finishing straight once again. So the laps continue to tick down. The conclusion of the 3rd kilometre, the Italians were there in 3:22.839 and New Zealand 3:25.323. Still all 4 Italian riders. Patazzi, Colinelli, Zanardi and Guazzini riding well here, and they have got New Zealand in their sights with 3 laps to go. We could see a catch here from Italy. The New Zealanders will sense the approach. Coach will have indicated to them as well. Once the catch is made, it will be all over and it will be goal for Italy. They're almost there. The leading rider for Italy is anxious to draw level, and the rest of the team are there. The catch will be deemed to have been made. Oh, they've got a little bit ragged here at the moment. The Italians, as they go through the bell now, our starter indicates that the catch has been acknowledged. So Italy are the junior world champions, catching and passing New Zealand with a lap and a bit to go. Celebrating, first to raise her arms aloft is Vittoria Guazzini. All four Italians finishing strongly there. In fact, they're still going. The realisation, I think, that the gold medal is theirs. Well, Sofia Collinelli doesn't want to stop. Now I think she'll join in the celebrations with the rest of the team. Ill fortune for New Zealand, they lost their fourth rider, I should say, at a critical point. But already they were significantly behind the pace of Italy, who led from pretty much the start and really did reinforce that position towards the end. And in the final analysis, they caught New Zealand for a lap and a half. So gold for Italy, silver for New Zealand, and bronze for Great Britain in the women's team pursuit. So the OVL caption, if you're wondering what that means on the screen, it means overlapped, in other words, caught by the opposing team of Italy. So Italy in a time of 4:28.398. Somewhat academic, I suppose, but they are the world champions. And they have the necessary flags to celebrate. And the Italian supporters have the necessary noise-making machinery also to join in the celebrations. There'll be lots more of that when the riders come to the podium for the victory ceremony for the women's team pursuit a little bit later. But before that, it's the turn of the men to receive their medals for the men's Kiering victory ceremony. That will be the next occurrence in Track Centre. Appropriate moment to whet your appetite for racing tomorrow on day 3 of the UCI Track Cycling World Championships. And the action begins here in the Velodrome, 11:30 in the morning. We'll be live on both YouTube and Facebook for you at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And tomorrow's competition sees the women's Omnium take place, along with qualifying and riding through to the quarterfinal stage for the men's sprint. We've also got the men's individual pursuit qualifying, and qualifies for the men's point race as well. So all of that to look forward to tomorrow. Of course, the finals also of the women's sprint, which has been packed with drama today, with reruns and all kinds of occurrences in the quarter-finals. They'll resume with the semi-finals of the women's sprint tomorrow. So all of that to look forward to. Don't forget you can join us live on the UCI YouTube and Facebook channels from 4 o'clock Central European time tomorrow. And the action here in the Velodrome actually begins at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so an early start for the competitors. And the qualification phases of those various competitions we have just mentioned for you. So as the Italians continue to celebrate, we are readying ourselves for the victory ceremony of the men's Kiering. This will be a great moment, I think, for the young man who will take the silver medal, representing India, SO. To my knowledge, without going back through the record books, I'm pretty sure it's the first time that India have scored a medal of any description in Keyring racing at this level. So the riders will come forward. And of course, Jakub Stachny was the winner of the gold medal for the Czech Republic. SO, the winner of the silver for India. And Andrei Chugai, the bronze medalist for Kazakhstan. So, of course, the bronze medal will be first to be presented to Andrei Chugai of Kazakhstan. Tony Kirsch, member of the UCI Management Committee, will be the man to present the medals and the jerseys. And the bronze medal will go to the rider from Kazakhstan, Andrei Chugai. It was a very well fought final. And Chugai just managing to snatch the bronze medal from the grasp of Florian Negrembo of France. And taking the silver medal representing India, SO. A very proud moment indeed. Silver medal for India in the junior men's Kieran. I imagine that won't leave his neck for some considerable time. But of course, there can only be one winner, and it is the man who will receive the gold medal representing the Czech Republic. It's Jakub Stachny. To the evident delight of the Czech Republic contingent. Pulling on the fabled rainbow bands, the jersey of the junior world champion. It's a neat fit, but it's on and zipped up, and to add to it, of course, is the gold medal. So he'll take a step onto the podium once the flowers have been distributed, and then of course we will hear the national anthem of the Czech Republic. Flower presentation for the three medalists. For the gold medalist, and now he steps onto the top of the podium, straightens the medal and readies himself for the emotion-filled moment as the sound of the Czech Republic national anthem rings out around the World Cycling Centre. So the applause and the celebrations for the riders who triumphed in the junior men's Kieran Championship. The gold medal for Jakub Stachny of Czech Republic, silver for SO of India, and bronze for Andrei Chugai of Kazakhstan. So as the jersey signing gets underway for Jakub Staszny, we have got one more victory ceremony for you, which will be for the women's team pursuit. So we're just assembling the necessary riders for our next victory ceremony. It's been a great day here on day 2 of these UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships here in Aigle in Switzerland. As I've already tempted you with the proposition of tomorrow's racing, it will continue into day 3 tomorrow. So I believe we're now just about ready to go into our final victory ceremony for the women's team pursuit. Italy, of course, the recipients of the gold medal, silver for New Zealand and bronze for Great Britain. Meanwhile, Essau taking the opportunity to have his picture taken with the president of the UCI, David Lepachon, and several of the members of the Indian delegation. Another fine advertisement for the globalization of cycling. Not quite sure of the hand gesture there from the Indian delegation. It perhaps means something different in Indian that way around. Anyway, so that is the celebrations, which will continue long into the night, I'm quite sure, for Essau. And here are the New Zealand team waiting patiently to step forward and receive their silver medals. So the 2018 UCI Junior Track Cycling World Championships women's team pursuit medal ceremony. As the medals and the jerseys and the flowers are processed to the podium. Team of Great Britain will be first to receive their medals. Bronze, of course. And the medals and jerseys will be presented by David Lepachon, the president of the UCI, World Governing Body of Cycling. Of course, are hosting these World Championships here at the World Cycling Centre. And Great Britain receive the medals, all 5 riders who've been involved in the competition. Ellie Russell, Ella Barnwell, Fife for Georgie, Eleanor Backstead and Anna Doherty. A proud moment for them all. Another medal to add to the extensive collection for Team Great Britain, both at junior and senior level over the years. We're seeing the next generation of riders. We'll be looking forward to the Olympics in 2020 in Tokyo and beyond. That's one of the great things about these junior championships. They really are the riders who are just on the pinnacle of the next level of cycling when they progress from junior to senior and the 23 level. The British riders applauding themselves, aided by the British contingent here in Aigle as well. Next to receive the medals will be the team who finished in second place. It will be New Zealand. Monsieur Lepachon already part way down the line with the silverware. Ali Wollaston, Sammy Donnelly, Anna-Marie Lipp and Mackenzie Milne. And now, of course, to the winners of the gold medal, and it is Italy. So again, all 5 riders who've contested the competition here for Italy, represented on the podium. Gloria Scarsi, Giorgia Cattazzi, Sofia Collinelli, Silvia Zanardi and Vittoria Guazzini. So they survived the false start, the gold medal final. Made no mistake, second time around, and went on to catch New Zealand with still a lap and a half in the bag to seal the gold medal. So just one more jersey to go. Then the medals, then the flowers, then, of course, the anthem. Well, barring the false start, it was a consummate display of team pursuiting from the Italians. So nearly there, just 14 bouquets of flowers to distribute as the Italians take the top step on the podium. And there they are, your junior world champions for the women's team pursuit. Great Britain first to receive their flowers. Next, the turn of New Zealand. Pretty good day for New Zealand in the team pursuits. Gold for the men, silver for the women, and here are the flowers for your gold medalists, the Italian team. Well, it looks like they've almost got that flower holding practice right. It's a right hand bouquet holding scenario there for the Italians as they celebrate. And now they look forward to hearing the national anthem of Italy. Look at that, they know all the words as well. Italy celebrating a great day's work here in Aigle. They are the new junior world champions for the women's team pursuit. So at the end of a great day of action, there are the medal standings, and Republic of Korea top the medal table. Gold in both stretch races for men and the women. So 2 gold medals for Korea, France in second spot, 1 of each colour for France, and New Zealand lie third in the medal table, ahead of Germany, Czech Republic, Italy, Poland, China and India making their position at the bottom of the table as well, ahead of Great Britain, Kazakhstan and Russian Federation. So that's the medal standings after the completion of day 2 of the racing action. So as we advertised a little earlier, these are some of the highlights you'll be able to see in our live coverage tomorrow, which begins at 4 o'clock Central European Time on both YouTube and Facebook. 4 o'clock will be the men's points race final. So we've got the women's sprint semi-finals of the women's Omnium competition played out to its conclusion tomorrow evening. And also, of course, the final of the men's individual pursuit, along with the women's sprint. So all of that to look forward to tomorrow. We sincerely look forward to your company once again. And we thank you for joining us here today. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage live from Aigle. And we leave you with a few highlights of what has been a great day's racing. And we look forward to your company again tomorrow. But until then, from all of us here in Aigle, we wish you a very good bye.